So in this video, we're going to be turning this pencil drawn wireframe into a complete functional website without writing a single line of code. This means that after watching this tutorial, you will know how to make a website in WordPress using Elementor free, a free theme, and other free WordPress resources. Okay, so why exactly should you watch this tutorial? This is going to be the most detailed tutorial because everything I'm going to be teaching you is going to be backed up by a blog post with all the design data. This means that if I make something 10 pixels big, the blog post also shows that this particular section is 10 pixels big. Yes, it's going to be that detailed. I'm also going to be sharing with you a checklist, all the templates, all the wireframe, the personas, and every single resource that I'm going to be using in this WordPress tutorial. So in this tutorial, we're going to be using project-based learning. This means that instead of you just sitting there and watching me do what I do, we're going to be doing it together. That means that after watching this video, if you can finish this website using this tutorial, you now have successfully learned all the skills needed to make a website in WordPress. So this is the project we're going to be working on. So let's describe the project. We have the hero section to collect emails, the icon section to show the user our achievements. Then we also have the services section to show the user what we offer. We also have the about section, which is going to be showing the user a little bit about us. They can also go to the about page to check more about that. Then we have the white user section to persuade the user to take action. Then we have the get a quote section to allow the user to take action. Then in case for those users who want to read more about us, we also have the blog post section. Okay, so what do we need to make a website? The first thing we're going to need is hosting. Simply put, hosting is the company that is going to be taking care of your website, keeping your website running on the internet. This means that they're going to take care of your website security, speed, and they will give you 24/7 support in case you have any questions at all. So to get this hosting, you will need to go to argo.com/fc, or you can click the link in the description below and you're going to land on a page like this one. The plan that I would recommend you to choose is the Fast Cloud Plus plan. This is because this plan allows you to have unlimited websites and has very good website space. I would not recommend you to go with the Fast Cloud plan because it only offers one website, and the Fast Cloud Extra plan is a bit too expensive, and the extra features that it gives you, you might not need them because you're just getting started. After choosing your plan, you have to click Get Started and you will land on a page like this. So on this stage, you would have to select your domain name. So simply put, your domain name is the name of your website. Let's take, for example, google.com. So Google is the domain name and .com is the extension. If you chose the Fast Cloud Plus plan, I would recommend that your first domain name be the name of your website. Let's take, for example, if your name is John Doe, you can just go with the johndoe.com. I want to put emphasis on the .com section of the domain because if you do that, you will have an easier time getting free visitors from Google to your website. I'll explain that more in detail. After you're done with that stage, you're going to land on a page like this. And then you can put in your information on this section. What I want to put emphasis on is on the data center section. So let me explain what a data center is. A data center is simply where the hosting company is going to be keeping your files. Your website is going to be kept at a particular location. The closer the visitor is to that location, the faster the website will load. Let's take, for example, if my website files are being kept in the United Kingdom, then let's say someone from the United States wants to access my website. It might take someone in the UK 2 seconds to access my website, and it would take someone in the United States 3 seconds to access the same website. So as you can see, the website is always faster for those who are closer to the data center. So what I would recommend you to do is to make sure that your data center is closest to your potential visitors, not you, because your potential visitors are the ones that are going to be spending more time going to your website. Later on, I'll also show you how to keep your website at multiple data centers, but for now, just choose a location that is closest to your potential visitors. So after you complete this process, you're going to land on a page like this. After you register for your hosting account, that means you already have a website. To check for this, you can just go to yourdomain.com and take a look. We, however, need to design this website, and all the tools and resources we're going to be using to design this website are inside your Argo account. So these tools include a checklist for every step, the user persona, the wireframes, the colors we're going to be using in this project, the images we're going to be using for the project, and also the template just in case you want to import the whole entire website onto your website and start running the website. I'll also show you how to do that in this tutorial. Now let's start making the website. Let us start by logging into the cPanel. You can do this by clicking the CP icon under the product service section. And to explain what the cPanel is, this is where we're going to be making the majority of our settings. So the first thing we want to do in the cPanel is to create a business email. Now, what is a business email? A business email is simply an email registered to your domain name. For me, it would be kudzai@aligua.com. For you, it will be your name at your domain name.com. You can also go on to create more emails such as support@yourwebsite.com, business@yourdomain.com. You can create as many as you want. Okay, so to make my business email, I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to go to email accounts and I'm going to click email accounts. As you can see, I don't have any email account right now, so I'm going to create one with you. So I'm going to click on create. And now on the username, I'm going to type in my name, which is Kudzai. You can just type in your name, don't type Kudzai. Then I'm going to click generate over here on the security section. Then on the storage space, I want to choose a little bit more. There's no problem with that. So I'm going to choose 512 megabytes. Then after everything is done, I've checked everything and I know my password, I'm going to click create. Now, as you can see, I now have an email at kudzai@aligua.tutorials.com. And if you send me a message, I can actually receive it. So now that everything is fine now, let me just check my email account, what it's going to look like. So I'm going to click on check email. And it's going to take me to a page like this one over here. All right, now, as you can see that it's just under the round cube logo over here, I want you to click open. You can just ignore everything else. It doesn't matter. Just click open. And your email account should look something like this. And this is just like any regular email account. So from this point onwards, I'm sure you can handle it. Now, the next step we want to do is let's now create a more secure website. Like let's install an SSL certificate. An SSL certificate is going to protect your website from the hackers. So to do that, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to my cPanel. Okay, I'm just going to click on the Rubik's icon over here to go back to cPanel. Then I'm going to scroll down to the security section. All right, now when I'm in the security section, I'm going to click on Let's Encrypt. I'm going to look for Let's Encrypt, then click Let's Encrypt, SSL. So now you can see that my account doesn't have an SSL certificate right now. And the problem with this is that if your account doesn't have SSL certificate, it's not secure, which means hackers can do bad things to your website and you don't want that happening. So let's fix this problem. To do that, I'm going to just go under issue a new certificate and I'm going to click issue under actions. And then I'm going to click, just leave everything as it is. You don't have to touch anything and just click on the issue button right over here. So as you can see, now shows a message, the SSL certificate is now installed onto the domain aligua.tutorials.com, and which means that the process has been successful. Now let's go on to the next stage. So now let us install WordPress. Okay, so what is WordPress? WordPress is a content management system. That means it allows you to create, modify, and manage your website without the need of any technical knowledge. So let's get into the steps. So as you can see right now, I'm back into the cPanel. I'm just going to scroll down now. Then under Softaculous App Installer, I'm going to click on WordPress. Okay, so now I'm going to land on a page like this one over here. Then I'm just going to scroll down and click on Install Now. Alright, so these are the settings that you're going to need to install WordPress. The first part is the software setup. It says choose the version you want to install. I'm going to keep it on the highest, which is now 5.6. By the time you watch this tutorial, this might have changed, but for now it's 5.6. Then choose installation URL. Then you want to make sure that you have HTTPS over here on choose protocol. Then choose domain name. You're going to choose the domain name that you just registered. Then the most important part is on in directory. I want you to completely delete everything that is in that section. So I'm going to remove anything on this form over here. I'm just going to remove the WP. Then I'm just going to scroll down. The site name, leave it as it is. I want you to leave everything else as it is except the admin account section over here. On the admin account section, I'm going to choose a username, which is going to be my name, Kuzai. Then you can choose your name, of course. Then on the admin password, then you have to choose the password that you're going to be using to log into the WordPress application. So right now, let me just leave it at pass over here. Then on the admin email, you want to choose an email that you use regularly. So instead of using the business email that you just registered, I would recommend you to just use the Gmail email that you have right now. So I'm just going to put in the Gmail email over here later on. Then as you scroll down over here, then you click install. So it might take some couple of minutes, you just have to wait. So as you can see now, it says congratulations, the software was installed successfully. This means that we have now installed WordPress. The next step for me now is to check if WordPress has truly been installed. So I'm just going to click over here. WordPress has been successfully installed at this URL. I'm just going to open a new tab. And as you can see now, the website looks different from when we didn't install WordPress. So this is not what we want, of course, but we are now taking the steps to design the website. So now what I need to do now is to log into my WordPress dashboard. This is the front end of my website. We want to log into the back end where we can do our settings and our design. To do that, I'm just going to click under this link over here, which says administrative URL. I'm just going to open that in new tab. And after doing that, you're going to land on a page like this one over here. And this is your WordPress dashboard. This is where we're going to do all the other settings to design the website to make it look exactly like what you want it to look like. Okay, so after finishing installing WordPress, I'm going to go back to my article dashboard, then tick install WordPress on the checklist. I think this is very important because we just want to make sure that we do everything step by step with no step skipped. The next step for us now is to set up our WordPress settings. So let's jump to this step. So I'm going to go back to my dashboard over here and I'm going to click on settings. Then I'm going to go to general. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change my site title to the name of my website. So for you, it's going to be the name of your website. So for me, it's going to be article tutorials. Going to be article tutorials. Then on the tagline, I'm going to put a few words describing what my website does. So I'm going to type in learn how to make in WordPress. So you can write whatever your website does. Then on the URL, you just want to make sure that it's HTTPS. The S at the end is very, very important. Then on the membership over here, I want to make sure that anyone can register. Then click that. So on the administration email address, this is the URL you're going to use to log into your account. So if you want to change that, you can change it over here. If you want to log into your account, let me just show you how you can do it into your WordPress account. So let's say this URL, I'm just going to take this URL over here and show you how you would log in directly without logging into the cPanel. So I'm just going to type it in like this. Then to log in, you have to type in WP admin. Then you go. Then over here, I'm going to have to put in, then over here, you put in the email address that you used to register. And over here, you would have to put in the password that you chose when you were installing WordPress. So now that that's done, I'm just going to click Save Changes on the settings here. Save Changes. Okay, so after you've done with this, that means that you have now successfully changed the general settings of your website. There's another setting that I would like you to change, which is just under permalinks over here. Click on permalinks. Then on permalinks, I want you to change it from day and name to post name. Now, why is this important? The thing is, when you have day and name set as your permalink, this means that your URL is going to have a date in it, of which this is not good for search engine optimization. So I want you to change it to post name. Post name is the best, then click on Save Changes. Okay, after doing this step, you have now done the WordPress settings and you can now go back to the article account and click on in WordPress settings, then click check. Now let's move on to the next step, which is to install a theme. So the next step for us now is to install a theme. So what is a theme? A theme is going to give your website the general structure. You can also use a theme to design the header part of the website and the footer part of the website and the sidebars as well. So now let's see how you can install a theme. So to install a theme, all you have to do is to go to Appearance, then click Themes. The theme we're going to be using in this tutorial is called Blocksy, which is a free theme. As I have promised, we're going to be using free resources. So now I'm going to go over here and click on Add New. Then I'm going to type Blocksy. In the search bar, type in Blocksy. Okay, so this is the theme that we want to install. Then I'm going to click Install. After clicking Install, I'm going to click Activate. Okay, now that we have now installed our theme, let's go and see how our website has changed. Because just by installing a theme, the website structure is going to change. So let's now go to the website. As of right now, it looks like this. So let's refresh the page. You see what it looks like now. So as you can see, the general structure is changed. So as you can see, this looks nothing like what we want, right? We would have to make some design changes to this. However, before we do that, let's move on to the next step. Before we start designing and customizing the website, we need to know who exactly is going to be visiting the website. Instead of just thinking about it, we need to write it down in a document somewhere. This document is going to be called the user persona. The user persona is a rough idea of the ideal user you would want to come to your website. You will need to write down general demographic information of this user, such as the name, the age, the gender, the education level, and even the country that they live in. You will need to know the pain and goals of this user, and you also need to know the top 10 websites that they are most likely to visit that is not your website. The goal is to build a website that is a better version of all these 10 websites. If you want to fill in this form for your very own website, you can go to your article dashboard, and under personas, you can download the template and you can fill it in. So after you complete that step, you can just click on check, create a user persona. Now let's move on to the next section, which is to create a wireframe. Okay, so after completing the user persona, now you need to draw a basic version of your website using a pencil and paper. Please do not use a software for this section. This is because I want the ideas to just flow as fast as possible from your head to that pen and paper. For this project, you can just download the wireframe from the wireframe section in your article account. The first thing you will need to sketch is called the sitemap. This is just a drawing showing how the user is going to navigate the website. This will include the names of the pages, the sections on those pages, and how these pages are going to be connected. Now you can move on to the wireframes. Please make sure that you do not put any sort of measurements or any sort of images on the wireframes. Just make sure it's as basic as possible. The best way to get the ideas for these sections is to get them from the top 10 most visited websites on your user's persona. After you finish this process, you can now go to the checklist and click check on wireframing. So now it's time for us to choose the colors. The last thing you need is a website looking like a rainbow, right? This is why you should use a color palette. A color palette is simply a list of colors that do well together. So how do you choose these colors? For this project, we're going to be using the color palette that is inside your article account. Under colors, you will find the color palette there. But let's say you want to make your own color palette. How would you do that? So if you want to do that, the first thing you have to do is let's go to coolers.co. Okay, so you're going to land on a page like this one over here. And what I want you to do, the first thing is to click Start the Generator. So now you will have a list of colors that look nice, right? But let's say you do not want these colors. All you have to do now is to click on the space bar to change the colors that are on the screen. As I do this, as you can see, it's just changing the colors. So this is how you would choose your color palette. However, I do have my own process that I would recommend for you to do. This process involves choosing 8 total colors. Now, what are these 8 total colors? Let me break it down to you. So the first thing we have is the main color, which is going to be broken down into a lighter version of the main color and a darker version of the main color. So now we have three colors: the main color, the lighter version of the main color, and the darker version of the main color. Then we have three accent colors. These three accent colors are going to be the colors that are not the main color, but are just going to complement the website, to just make it look a bit more better. Then we're going to have black and white. So let me show you how I'll do it in my Coolers account. So before you continue with this tutorial, I know that you're tired of short, shallow, and boring tutorials. What you're interested in is in-depth, exciting tutorials that cover everything. This means that you will learn more in less time in an exciting way. If you agree with this, then click the red subscribe button below, the bell icon, then like this video, because this is exactly what we're going to be doing on this channel. So let's get back to the tutorial. So what I would do first of all is, let's say I want to choose this main color. This is the main color, this ocean blue over here. I'm just going to drag it to this side. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to delete each and every color. I'm going to delete this color, and delete this color. So I'm going to be left with three colors. So this is my main color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy it, right? And I'm going to just paste it in here, so that each and every column is going to look equal, right? So now I'm going to look for a darker shade of the main color and a lighter shade of the main color. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go on view shades. And for this one, let's say if I want to choose this color, I would go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's say 8. And this is going to be the darker shade of the color. Then I would go over here and choose a lighter shade. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And as you can see now, we have three colors which are just part of the main color. So this would be the main color, the darker shade, and the lighter color. Even if you go to the article account under colors over here, for the colors that I chose, you can see that blue is the main color for the color palette I'm going to be using. And you can see that this is the blue, this is the darker shade of the blue, and this is the lighter shade of the blue. Then we have three accent colors which are going to help make our website look more beautiful. And then after I do that, I'm going to lock this color, lock this color, and lock this color. So now I'll have to choose three accent colors. So I'm just going to click on this 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm just going to drag this over here. So these are the colors that we've already chosen, these first three. Now, I want to make sure that these first three colors are locked, so that when I click the space bar, these three colors remain in the color palette. Now to choose my accent colors, I'm just going to click on the space bar, and this software is going to look for colors that match really good with these three colors. And you click the space bar until you find colors that you like, and then you just lock all of them like this. Now, you don't have to put black and white in the color palette because it's an obvious one, right? So you don't have to put in the color palette, you can just leave it. So after you are done with choosing the colors that you want, you can now just click export over here. And I would prefer you export it as an image. Then click image. Then give it a name. Then I'm just going to say my color palette. I don't know, this is the spelling, this is definitely not it. My color palette. Then I'm going to click export. Then it's going to be downloaded by the browser. Now that it's downloaded, what I would want you to do if you're not using the colors that we're going to be using in this project is to go back to the article dashboard and enter your profile over here. This is my profile. You have your own profile. You can just click upload and upload your color just right over here. This is where I would want you to upload your color so that we can use it later on in the tutorial. And after I'm done with that step, I can now go to checklist over here. And I'm going to click choosing colors and I'm going to tick that a check. Now we can move on to the next step. Okay, now that we have the colors, the next step for you is to install Chrome extensions. Now, what do Chrome extensions do? Chrome extensions are going to help you design the website much faster. The first Chrome extension I would recommend you to install is called ColorZilla. ColorZilla is going to help you to check and copy any color from any website. The second Chrome extension I would recommend you to get is called WordFont. What font is going to help you to check any font, the size, everything about that font on any web page. We're going to be using these extensions to copy the colors from the Adequate dashboard. After you're done with this session, you can now go and tick Chrome extensions in your Adequate account. Now that we have colors, it's now time to use our colors. We're going to be using our colors to make a logo, and this logo is going to be in two parts. It's going to have the icon and the text. We're also going to have two versions of this logo. We're going to have a colored version of the logo and a white version of the logo. So now to do that, let's go to logomaker.com. However, when you go to Logo Maker, it's a logo maker without the E. So don't put the E in the logo maker. So I'm going to click Create New Design. Okay, so the first part of the logo is the icon. So I'm going to go over here and search for the icon. Let's say I want to make a website for, let's say like a traveling website, for mountain traveling website. So I'm going to just type in over here, mountain, and search. Now I have this. I'm just going to pick which logo should I pick. So now I can pick an icon for whatever I want to make. So let's say I want to use this icon over here. Now I have to choose the text. So to choose the text, I'm going to go to the left on the big T over here and click the big T. Now as you can see, I now have some text, and let's say I want to write mountain. I'm going to write mountain. So now that we have the text and the icon, now it's time for me to change the colors of these text and icon. So the first thing I want to show you is that, let's say you want to change the font of this text. So to change the font of this text, you can just go on top over here. You can see that there's font category, there's decorative, designer picks, fancy, whatever you want to pick, you can just pick it over there. And then this is the font family. If you want to choose, let's say Passion 1, you can just change it like that. And as you can see, it would have changed. Now this is how you would change the font. Now let's say you also want to change the colors. Now as you can see, you can change your colors at the right over here, but this is not how I would recommend you to do. What I would recommend you to do is that, since we have installed ColorZilla as one of our color extensions, we have to go back to your Adequate dashboard. So I'm pretty sure by now you now have your color palette. So for this logo, I'm just going to use the colors that I'm going to be using for this website. So let's say colors over here. I'm just going to click on colors. Then I'm going to click on the ColorZilla color extension over here. Then I'm going to say page color picker, like that. Then I'm just going to go down and pick my color. Let's say this is the color I want, just like that. And when I click on it, it's going to copy the color. Then I'm going to go back to the logo, and over here, I'm just going to type in like this. Then I'm going to paste the color. And as you can see, it has now changed to the original color that I wanted, the main color of the color palette. And to change the color of the icon, just click on it as well. And now you can paste the color just like that, so that you can use the color from your color palette. This is how you would do it. So after you're done adjusting your logo, all you have to do now is to just go over here on the crop icon on the bottom right corner, just like this. Then you just adjust a little bit, like that. Then you click on the save logo icon on the top right. Then when you are done, all you have to do now is to just click on no thanks, download low resolution, and make sure you also read the terms and conditions for downloading the low resolution. Then when you click no thanks, download file, your file will be downloaded. However, I also want to make sure that this is not the only type of logo you should be exporting. You should also make sure that you export the icon on its own. Then when you're done exporting this icon, you also want to make sure that you have a white version of the logo, which means you have to change it like this. Then you click on over here, then you change it to white. You change everything to white like this. And as you can see, now you don't see anything, right? But the logo is now white. Then all you have to do now is to just click on save logo, and then you click on no thanks, download low resolution file. This means you now have three files. You now have a file for only the icon. You now have a file for the icon and the text, which is the logo, which is in colored. Then you have the logo, which is just in white version. Now, the thing about this is that the background of the logo that you're going to download is going to be transparent, which means when you put this white logo on a background that is color, it's going to show that the logo is white. So you don't have to worry about that. So when you are done, just keep the files. And if you did not make your logo, don't worry. You can just go to your Adequate account here and enter files over here. you can just download the resources over here. I already made a logo for you for the website that we're going to be making. So when you are done with this process of making your logo, you can now go back to checklist and you can click check on create logo. Okay, so now that we now have the customer persona, the wireframes, the logo, and the color palette, we are now ready to start designing the website. So to design your website, first of all, you have to go back to your WordPress dashboard. So what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is let's create some pages, right? We have to create pages for the website. So I'm just going to go right over here and click on pages. Okay, so as you can see right now, we have 2 pages that are in the pages section that we really don't want, right? So let's say, so now I'm going to click over here. I'm going to click just next to title. I'm just going to check over here. Then under bulk actions, I'm going to say move to trash, then click apply. So that we just clean up the website, because these pages are demo pages and we don't want them on our website. So I'm going to delete this now. So now let's add some new pages. So in order to add a new page, now I'm under pages, all pages. I'm just going to click add new. And I'm going to open it in new tab. Then I'm going to go to that tab. Okay, so welcome to the blog editor. Now I'm just going to remove this, click an X, close dialog. Now to add title, I'm going to put my title over here. I'm going to say home. I'm going to say home over here because I want to make the home page. This is the title. So in order to publish this page and save it, I'm just going to go over here and click on publish. Click publish, then publish. And just by doing that, I now have a home page. And in order to see if this page is live on the internet or not, I'm just going to click on view page. And it's going to take me to the home page. As you can see now, I already have a page on my website. So you're going to have to do this for the home page, blog page, newsletter page, contact us page, and the services page. You can see those pages in your wireframe. And if you've not downloaded your wireframe yet, you can just go back to your article account and just under wireframes over here, you can download the wireframe and it's going to show you each and every page that you're going to need to make this website. Okay, so now that we have created all the pages, the next step for us is to create the menus. Okay, so what is the menu? The menu is simply the navigational text on your website. Now your website is going to be made of 3 sections, which is going to be the header, the body, and the footer. We want to make the menus which are going to go into the header and the footers. So to do that, I'm going to hover over appearance over here. Then I'm going to click on menus. So the first menu we want to add right now is called the main menu, which is going to be on the header. On the website, this is the main menu over here with the blog, about, newsletter, services, and the contact. So now I'm just going to, as you can see right now, all the pages we have created are on the menu header right now. As you can see over here, this is our website. So we only want to include the pages that we want to include on this menu. So to do that, I'm going to go back to menus and I'm going to put in main menu. This is the first menu I'm going to create. Then I'm going to click on create menu. Okay, now how do we add the items onto the menu? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the left sidebar under the add menu items over here. Then I'm going to click under pages and click view all like this. Okay, now that I clicked view all, I'm going to add the pages that I want to add to the main menu. So for me, that would be the about page, the blog page, the contacts page, the newsletter page, and the services page. That's 5 pages in total. When I'm done choosing those pages, I'm just going to click on add to menu. Okay, now they are added to the menu. However, as you can see on the final product here, as you can see, we now have the pages in order from blog, about, newsletter, services, and contact. So I also want to do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go back over here and I'm going to put them in the order that I want, which is of course blog, about, newsletter, services, and contact. So I'm going to put blog, about, newsletter, services, and contact. And I'm going to click on save menu. Now, after you've saved your menu, you now want to go under the menu settings over here and display location. I want to change that display location to header menu 1. Then click header menu 1. Then click save menu like this. Now let's go to our website and see if these changes have taken effect. So let's see, this is the page that we want to change the menu. I'm just going to refresh this page. And as you can see now, I have blog, about, newsletter, services, and contacts on the header menu. And just by doing that, I have created the menu for the headers. Now, how would you create the menu for the footers? Now, the process is the same. So for now, let me just show you how to create one of them. You can see all the rest of the menus in your website wireframe, which you can download under wireframes in your Article account. So now let's see over here, as you can see right now, on the footers, I have the legal menu. This is also a menu, the company menu, and the services menu. So now, how would I create this menu? So for now, what I'm going to do is let me just create the menu for the company menu, which is the about, blog, contact, and newsletter. So now I'm going to do this. And I'm going to click on create new menu. After I've saved this one, of course, make sure that you always save your menu after making any changes. Then I'm going to click on create a new menu. Now, this menu is going to be called the company, which is going to involve pages that are going to tell the user more about the company. So now I'm just going to click on create menu. And which pages do I want to add on the company menu? I want to add about, blog, contact, and newsletter. So I'm going to click on about, blog, contact, and newsletter. Then I'm going to say add to menu. Then instead of checking the display location for the footer menu, I would recommend you not to do that, because we're going to do it in the future. Later on, I'll show you how to put this menu on the footer. So in the header menu, we put a location of header menu 1. However, on the footer menu, do not tick anything. Just leave it as it is and click on save menu. Now, if we go back and refresh this page, as you can see, nothing is displaying as of yet because we have not designed the footer yet. So for now, nothing should display, but you should make sure that all your menus are in place for the next stages. If you want to see all the menus, you can now always go to your wireframe and you can view all the menus that we're going to be making in this project. So now, let's go to the next stage. Okay, so now let us design the website. So to design the website, we're going to start by designing the header, the footer, and then the body of the website. The body of the website are the pages. This can be the home page, the blog page, the newsletter page, services, contact. You can add as many as you want. So the first thing we're going to do is let's hover over appearance over here, and we are going to go down to click on customize. I would recommend you to open it in a new tab. Let's say open in a new tab. Okay, so this is the customized section of the website. Now, in the customized section of the web of this dashboard, what you can do in it is you can edit the header, the footer, and the sidebars. You can also make settings that affect the whole entire website, like choosing the color palette or choosing the size of the font. This is going to affect the whole website, and you can make these settings in the customized section of the dashboard. So now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the color palette that we chose in the coolers.co account, which is by now in your article account, and we're going to shift that to the website dashboard. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to scroll down like this, and I'm going to go to colors. Now you can see we have palette 1. Now palette 1 allows you to have somewhere around 5 colors, I think. Yes, it allows you to have 5 colors. But remember, we have 8 colors in our website. We have the main color with the dark shade and the lighter shade, making 3. Then we have 3 accent colors, making 6, and neutral colors, which are black and white, and we have 8 total colors. Now they're not going to fit on this color palette over here. However, it doesn't matter. So the first color we're going to add is, right, so we just click on the color. This is color 1. Color 1. So color 1, we want to add 1 accent color. So I'm just going to go back to my dashboard over here. Then I'm going to click on the ColorZilla Chrome extension, which you have installed by now, I believe. Then I'm going to click on the extension like this. Then I'm going to say Page Color Picker. Click. Then the first color I'm going to choose is this one over here. I'm just going to hover over the color. Then I'm going to right click. And just by doing that, the color has been copied to a clipboard. Now I can go back to my customized section. And over here, I'm just going to click on paste. And just by doing that, you can see that the color has been added to my color palette. So now I am going to do that for all the colors that I need. The first color was the accent color. Now I'm going to add 3 of my colors, which are going to be the main color, and the 2 shades of the main color. Then I'm going to leave this as white, which is obviously going to be a neutral color. So let me do that right now. Then I want to paste it in here. Now, here is the problem that you might face when you do this. As you can see now, I cannot paste the color over here because this is RGBA. And if I go down like this, it changes to HSLA, which is not what I want. I want the hex. Now, the way you can fix this is you can see there's a bar just below over here. This bar is for the transparency of the color. So you want to make sure that this bar is at 1, at its maximum, right? And after I do that, I'm just going to go over here on this small arrow icon. And when I change over here, it now goes back to hex. And when I go back to hex, now I can paste my color like this. And the last color over here is going to be this color. So I'm just going to click on Chrome extension, page color picker, like that. Then I'm going to go here and I'm going to just paste it. And by doing that, I have successfully imported all the colors that I needed, and I'm going to click on publish. Now I have my color palette 1. However, just by using color palette, every setting is not yet done. I also want to change the base font color. The base font color should be a darker version of your main color. So this is the base font color, is already that version. Now the link color, I want it to go to white. As you can see on my website over here, the colors of the links over here are white. So I want to change it to white over there. So I'm going to go to customize and I'm going to change the link color over here. Then I can just choose it on the color palette. It's going to be color 5, which is white. Okay. Now this color is the link hover color. So the color right now is the white, right? But when I move my mouse on top of that link, I want it to change in color. This is called the hover effect. So as you can see, the link is changing color to a color that is one of our accent colors. So I want to change that in the settings. To do that, now what I have to do is to say that link color is white, the hover, I want to change it, and I'm going to choose this one, which is color 1 of the color palette. Done. The heading color, I also want to change the heading color over here to the darker version of the main color, which is going to be this one over here, color 3. Okay, text color is going to be white with the hover effect as this color over here. And when I'm done with all of those, I'm just going to click on publish. And after you're doing that, after you've done that, you can now go back to your website and let's refresh the website. Now, when I go to the header over here, you can see that if I hover on a link, it's going to change the color to the accent color, which means the color palette is now taking effect on our website. Now, there's something else we would like to do right now. Let's now change the font of the website. Now, what is the font? The font of the website is simply the style of the text. So now let me do that. I'm going to go back to the customize section. So now I'm going to click on typography. Okay, now let me change the base font. So to change the base font, I'm going to choose Railway as the base font. Then I'm going to click on Railway. Now, the thing is, Railway is a very good font. However, we want to have a different font for the headings and a different font for the base font. So for the base font, we've chosen Railway. For the headings, I would recommend that you go with Poppins. Poppins looks nice with Railway. So I'm going to go with Poppins. For H1, Poppins for H2. And now you can just click publish. Okay, so now we are done with choosing the fonts. Now let's go and create the top bar. So let's get back over here. Then I'm going to go to the header. And now, as you can see in the header section, we have 3 main rows here. We have this top row, we have this main row, and we have the bottom row. Now, I know that you can see these rows on this dashboard. However, what about on our website? What do these rows represent? Now, this is the top row over here, and it represents this row over here, this top row. Then this middle row over here, this main row, it represents the header itself, which is of course this row over here. Then we also have the bottom row, which we're not going to be using today because I don't think it really matters. So we're only going to have 2 rows. So now, how do we get the elements onto the rows? Now, first of all, let's describe what these elements are. So these elements are simply pre-designed sections of the website, right? As you can see, we have the button section, we have the HTML, the logo, the menu 1, the menu 2, and the socials. These are all pre-designed by your theme. So this is what we're going to do. In order to bring that element onto the row, all you have to do is to just drag it like this and then put it like that. That's all you have to do. And that row, that element is going to show up on your website, right? So which is a very nice feature. As you can see, just by dragging the button onto the top row, there is now a button over here which says download. So this will be very, very easy. And as you can see over here right now, we have this text over here and the social icons element, the logo element, the menu element, and the button element. Now, I know that you cannot just cram all of what I'm saying right now from the top of your mind. This is why I use what I call the design data. Now, if you look in the links in the description below, there's going to be a link to a blog post. And on that blog post, when you reach that blog post, you will see that there is, for every step, there's going to be a step right now. There's going to be a step right there. Then there's going to be an icon for you to watch it on YouTube. Then there's also going to be what I call the design data. Now, the design data is going to cover much of the things that are on that section. It may not cover all of them, but it will cover the most important and special parts of the section. So as you can see right now on the top row, on the layout, we have the HTML element on the left, and on the right section, we have the socials element. So let's do exactly that. So now I'm going to go back over here to the customize section. So make sure you open that blog post because it's going to help you out. So now I'm going to just delete this button over here that I put right there. So now I'm just going to delete everything that is in every row so that I can start filling it up for myself. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the HTML element and put it over here to the left. Then I'm going to put the socials element and put it over here to the right. Exactly like that. And now, as you can see, if you look on the top row, we now have some sample text and some social icons on top. Now, I'm going to click on publish and let's go check how our website looks now. And if we go to the website right now, it looks like this. Then I'm going to just refresh it. And you can see that just by dragging those elements to the top row, they now show up on our website. However, we want to design these sections so that they look better. Now, in order for you to design this section, all you have to do now is to just click on the top row like this, then click on top row on this gear icon on the top row. Then I'm going to go to design, right? Now, the design of this, I wrote everything, the design on the design data. You can see that on the design, the HTML font is 15 pixels and the background and everything is just listed, right? So let's start with the advanced section, right? So the background of this is the main color, right? It's blue. The background is blue. So let's check that. The background color is blue, like that. Then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this text to white and these logos to white. To do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click over here, the design over here, and I'm going to choose white. Text initial, I'm going to change it to white. And on the fonts, I'm just going to click on them like this, on these 3 dots on this blue thingy over here. Then I'm going to go to the design and I'm going to change the icon's color to white. Okay, now we are done with that step. Now we can see that the top row is now with a blue background and we have some simple text over here and some icons to white. Now, as you can see, if we go back to the design data, we see that the HTML font size is 15 pixels and the social icons color are all white, and everything is just, the minimum row is 40 pixels. Everything you need to know about the design of the section is going to be on the design data. So now I'm just going to go back now to the customize section and I'm going to make this 15 pixels. General, I'm going to click this. And I'm just going to put in my email. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my email, the email that we registered in the cPanel. So that email is going to be email at, I'm going to copy this text over here. Okay, as you can see now, it's showing up on my top bar. Then over here, I want to change some things. I want to just make it a little bit bigger. So I'm just going to go to design over here. And it's now 15 pixels here. Then over here, how big is this? It's to design, general, and this everything is 15 pixels. Okay, so after I'm done, I'm going to click on publish. So this is how you would make the top bar. Then I'm going to go back here and I'm going to say refresh. And as you can see, just by dragging and dropping those elements, I now have a top bar. However, as you can see, as we hover over these social icons over here, I also want to install links to my social media platforms, right? So I'll go back to customize. Then I'm going to click on the social icons here. Then I'm going to go down to you can configure social URLs here. Just click on that. And just by doing that, now you can add links to your social media accounts, just like that. So you can add them in here or whatever you want to add, you can just add it here. And when you're done, you just click publish. So that's it for making the top bar. Now let's go and design the header. So now that we're done designing the top bar, it's now time for us to get to the deeper side of this tutorial. So before we move to the next step, I'm just going to go to my article account. Then under checklist, I'm just going to tick on create top bar because we are done with that step. So the next thing I want you to do is to download the resources we're going to be using in this tutorial. These resources will include the images and every other external resource we want to make and design this website. So I'm now going to go in my article dashboard and under the files over here, I'm going to click on files. Then I'm going to download this how to make a website in WordPress and I'm going to click download. Okay, so once the download is finished, I'm just going to say open, show in folder over here. Then I'm going to extract this file because this is a zip file, which means it's a compressed folder. You need to extract it. So if you open this folder, these are the resources that I want you to have as of right now. So in order to put these resources onto WordPress, we need to upload them to the media section of your website. So now to do that, go back to your dashboard. So once you're in your WordPress dashboard, I now want you to just go under media over here and click add new. Okay. So now I want you to click on select files and just select each and every file that is inside our WordPress tutorial images folder. Then I'm going to click on open. And just by doing that, you can see that the files are now being imported. So this is how you would upload any file to WordPress. So now let's move on to the next step, which is to now design the header. Okay, so now that we have uploaded our files, let's go and design the header. To design the header, I'm going to go to the customize section. So here's the thing, right? If we look at our header over here, we have three elements. We have the logo, the menu, and the button over there. So now if I go to the design data, you can also see that on layout on the left, I have a logo, the button, and the menu one. So let's add those elements to the main row. So now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to add the logo right over here, the button over here, and then the menu right over here. Now we have our three elements and I'm going to click on publish. Never forget to click on publish because if you do, some of your changes might not be saved and you're going to waste a lot of time. So now I'm just going to go to the page and refresh it. And as you can see now, I have the menu, the button, and over here the logo. So now we want to design some certain things over here. There are certain things that we want to make. Like as you can see, this text is not white. We don't have our logo over here, and this button just looks straight out weird, right? So now let's just go back to the customize section. And the first thing we're going to do, if we go to the design data, let's make the background blue and change the height of this header. It's a bit way too high, like it's just too much. So I'm just gonna go over here and I'm gonna change it to 90 pixels. I'm gonna put it to 90 right there, and I'm gonna go to the design part in the background to this. Then I'm going to click on publish. And after clicking publish, I'm just going to refresh this and see how it looks. Okay, now it looks much better. Now it's time for me to upload my logo right over here so that it replaces this text right over there. So I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna click on logo and select logo. Then I'm gonna click this logo and click on select. And just by doing that, you can see that my logo is now showing up on the header over here. However, the text is still there, which says article tutorials. I want to remove that text. It's called the tagline text. So I'm just going to go on site title over here. Then I'm going to click just like this, disable it. And now when I click publish, you can see that I have a logo without the text in the bottom. Now I want to make this logo a bit bigger. So as you can see right over here, the logo height is 70 pixels on the design data. So I want to change that logo. Click on the logo, then the logo height, I'm going to put it at 70 pixels and click publish, and now it's bigger. So now let's move on to the next element, which is going to be the menu. So now the menu, I'm just going to click on the menu right over here. Click on the menu, right click. So now let's go to the design data of the menu. What does the design data of the menu say? So as you can see, the menu item spacing is 13 pixels. The font is 18 pixels, semi-bold. And of course, the default color is FFFF6Fs, which is the color code for white. Then the hover colors is of course the accent color, which is the orange color. So let's do that. Let's change everything over here. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on menu, right? Then I'm going to go to item spacing to 13 pixels. Then I'm going to just go to the design section right here. And the font color, I'm going to change it to white. And the hover color is this one, which is always a hover color, which is the accent color that we chose to be the hover color. Then on the default family over here, it's supposed to be 18 pixels. It's supposed to be 18 pixels here. 18 pixels. Then I'm going to change it from semi-bold here. I'm going to change it from bold to semi-bold. Then I'm going to click on publish. So these were the settings that we needed to do for the menu. So now I'm going to go here and click refresh the page, and the menu should change. As you can see, it looks much better now. Now it's time for us to take action on the button. We also want to design the button. So let's go back to our design data. And if you go to the design data, we don't have much for the button over here, but I'm sure I can figure it out. Let's now go over here to the button to design it. So I'm just going to change it from general over here, this default, to something like this. Okay, so as you can see, the pattern is now changed over here. Let's make it a bit bigger to let somewhere around medium. Yeah, okay. Then the label, we're going to say start here. This is a good label. Then on the URL of the button, I want this button to lead to the services page, which is the most important page, because this is the page that is going to be collecting the what? The quotations. So now I'm just going to go to the page over here, and I'm going to go to services, copy link address. Then I'm going to copy and paste the URL right there and click on publish. Now, as you can see, our button is nice, but the color is really bad. So I'm going to go to the design section. Then the font color, I'm going to put it to white, just like that. Then the button color, I'm also going to put it to white. Then the button hover color, I'm going to put it to that accent color that we chose, which is color number 1. And I'm going to click on publish. Now let's go and see how our header looks. And I'm going to refresh this page. And this is now how our header looks. Now, if I can go right over here, you can see as I hover, the color is changing. Even on the button, the color changes as well, which looks really nice. However, as you can see, if we go over here, we have this border just below the top bar. We have this border over here. We also want to put that border. So to put that border, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to click on the top row. And on the top row, I'm going to go to the design section, and I'm going to go on bottom border, and I'm going to put this one over here. Then I'm going to change its color. Just like that. I'm going to put something like, let's see, does this work? No, that does not work. I'm going to just put this to 1. Then change the hex, and I'm going to choose this color is the border, which looks nice. And I'm going to click on publish. Then I'm going to refresh the page. And as you can see, we have now successfully created the top bar, the header, and now it looks much more beautiful than just an ordinary header without the top bar. So now let's move on to the next step, which is to design the footer. Now that we are done designing the header, it's now time for us to go and design the footer. When you design the footer, I'm just going to go back and back again. Then I'm going to click on footer. All right. As you can see, the footer how we design the footer is just the same with how we design the header. So you have our drag and drop elements to the left over here and the rows right over here. So this top row is this row over here, then this is the main row and this is the bottom row. The same with this part, middle row, top row, and the bottom row. So let's start by designing the top row. If we go back to our design data over here for the footer section, you can see that for the top row, we only have one element, which is the socials. So let's see how we can add the socials to the footer. So now I'm just going to go and click on the top row like this, and columns, I'm going to put it to one column. Then I'm going to click on the top row again, then back like this. Then I'm going to go to the socials and I'm going to drag it on top right over here. Okay, so I now have the socials on top. As you can see, the socials are on the left side over here, but if you go back, they're on the center over here. So we want to change that. So let's change the socials. So I'm going to click on socials. Scroll down to horizontal alignment, and as you can see now, they are centered. So now what I want to do now is I want to increase the size of these socials to somewhere around 30 pixels, because if you go back to the design data, you can see that the icon size is 30 pixels, icon spacing is 30 pixels. We've already made the center, so now let's do that. So I'm going to just click on the socials, not like that, the socials. Then I'm going to go to the design side of things. And first of all, I'm going to change the socials color to this color over here. And this hover color, I'm going to leave it as it is. Then go to general, and icon size, I'm going to put it to 30 pixels. Icon spacing to 30 pixels. Okay, so now they look nice. Now I want to change the background of this section, this whole entire top row section. So I'm going to click on the top row. And on the design side, I'm going to choose a row background and I'm going to make it this color, which looks nice. And now I think I am done. Let me go back to the design data. As you can see, center one. Okay, now we are done with this section. And I'm just going to click on publish. After clicking on publish, if I go and refresh this page, our top section should appear. Now we have this section right over here. And now it's time for us to design this bottom part and this bottom part again. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to click on middle row. Now, as you can see on the website, the middle row has 4 columns. So that's what we want to do right over here. So I'm going to put it columns per row to 4. Okay, now we have 4 and I'm just going to click on publish. For now, I want you to leave it as it is. Just click on 4 and leave it as it is. And let's go down to the bottom row over here. And on the bottom row, you have what we call the copyright text. This is the copyright text over here at the bottom over here. It just shows that your website was made in 2021 by whoever it was made by. You can edit and put whatever you want on the bottom over there. I really touch the section. I just leave it as it is. So now what I'm going to do now is, as you can see on the blog design data over here, we have the copyright element, which is in white. That's all. And the font size is 15 pixels. So now I'm just going to go to the bottom row here. And on the design, I'm just going to change the background color to something like that looks like this over here. Then I'm going to click on copyright. And I'm going to go to design. And I'm going to change the font color to white. And after doing that, I think I'm done with that part. I'm just going to click on publish and I'm going to refresh this page. Okay, now we have created the top row and the bottom row, and we are very, very close now to achieving our overall design. Now let's get back and now so now let me go and click middle row and go back. So I want to drag and drop widget areas onto this section. So I'm going to widget area 1 over here, widget area 2 over here, widget area 3 over here. Then I'm going to put widget area 4 over here. Then I'm going to click publish. So these widget areas are not controlled right over here. So let's see. I'm going to click on widget area 1. You see, it doesn't have any widget. Nothing is empty. Even if I go right now and I refresh the page, it's still empty, right? Nothing is over here. So now, let's see how we can add more content to the widget areas. So first of all, you have to add the widget areas. Then you have to add content to the widget areas. So in order for you to add content to the widget areas, what you would need to do is now to go back to your dashboard in WordPress, then click on appearance, then click on widgets. Now, as you can see, we have footer column 1, footer column 2, footer column 3 to footer column 4. So for the first footer column, which is this one, we want to add a menu, which is the legal menu. And all these menus are inside your wireframe, which you can download in the article account. So now let me go back. And on footer column 1, I'm going to add a menu. So now I'm going to have to look over here for the menu, which is right over here, the navigation menu. And I'm going to add it to footer column 1. Add menu to footer column 1. Then I'm going to add another menu to footer column 2. Then I'm going to add another one to footer column 3. So for all these 3 columns, we've added navigation menus. So for the first column over here, I'm going to add legal, then company, then services. So I'm going to add, over here, I'm going to add select menu. I'm going to select legal. Over here, I'm going to select company. Over here, I'm going to select services. Then I'm going to save all of them. Save. And then save. If I go and refresh my page over here, you will notice that the menus are now on the footer. As you can see, the menus are now on the footer. However, we still want to make some settings over here. As you can see, there are no headings. We want to add these headings. Add those headings. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. Then the title over here, I'm going to say legal. This is the title. I'm going to say company. Then this title, I'm going to say services. Then click save, save, and save. And if I go back to the website, I now have the titles, the legal, company, and services, right? So that's a win for us. However, we still have one column over here which doesn't have any content, and which is, of course, this column over here with all this text over here. So what I'm going to do is, instead of adding a navigation menu to the widget, I'm going to add text widget. I'm going to add some text to the widget. So this is footer column what? 4. So I'm going to look for the text, which is this one over here, and I'm going to set footer column 4, and I'm going to add the widget. And the title of this is going to be Get in Touch over here. Get in Touch. I'm going to paste it right. Then I'm also going to put in some text in it. You can put in whatever text you want over there. Then I'm going to say save. Okay, it's been saved. And if I go back to my website and refresh the website, you can see that I now have everything I need. All the menus right over here. So now the next step for me is to change the background of this menu and change the color of the text on the middle row of the footer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to the design data, right? And just see, as you can see over here, the text is white at 18 pixels for the widget font size, and columns is 4, and the row background is a bit blue. So now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back and click on middle row. First design I'm going to do is I'm going to say row background, this color, and then click publish. I want to refresh it because I made some changes. It's not showing right now, so I'm going to just refresh. Okay, as you can see now, everything is now showing. So now I'm going to go back to footer, click middle row. And what I want to do is I want to go to the design tab over here. Then just down there, you can see that widgets, title, font color. I'm going to change that to white. Then widgets font color, I'm going to change that to white again. Then widgets heading font, I'm just going to change that to white too. Link initial, I'm going to change that to white again. So let's just try to make everything white. Then I'm going to click on publish. Okay, so the default font size should be 15 pixels over here. I'm going to put it to 15. Then over here, I'm going to put it to somewhere around 14. Then I'm going to click on publish. Now, if I go and refresh this page, it's going to look something like this. Okay, so now let's talk about plugins. So what are plugins? I'm going to imagine that you have a phone right now. However, without a certain app in your phone, you cannot video call. You would need to download and install that app for you to get the feature to video call using that phone. That is exactly what plugins do to the website. They add extra functionality. This can range from complicated features to small things such as adding icons to the menu. So for now, let's see how you can add plugins in your WordPress website through the dashboard. So let's say I'm in the dashboard, right? Then I'm going to scroll down to plugins over here and I'm going to click on plugins. So you're going to have some default plugins. I already deleted my own default plugins, but you should always delete the default plugins. Then if you want to add extra plugins, all you have to do now is to click on add new over here. And you will see a list of a number of plugins. So all these plugins, they have their features. However, you don't have to add all of them. You only need to add those we're going to be using in this tutorial. Okay, so the first plugin we're going to install is called Elementor. Elementor is a visual page builder. This means that you don't need to write any single line of code. You can just drag and drop elements onto the page. So let's see how you can use Elementor. So the first thing we're going to do is let's search for Elementor. Elementor. And this is the plugin that we want to install, and I'm going to click on install. After it's done installing, I'm going to click on activate. Okay, so it's going to give you this welcome to Elementor over here. Then I'm just going to remove this. We don't need this part. Okay. Then in order to use Elementor, you would have to go to a page. Let's say, so I'm going to go to pages over here and I'm going to go to all pages. Then I'm going to go to the home page over here and I'm going to click on edit. Okay, so the first thing, so you can see that there is now a button over here which says edit with Elementor. However, before you do that, I want you to go to page attributes over here. And then from the template, I want you to change the template from the default template to the Elementor full width template. So whenever you want to edit a page with Elementor, make sure that the template is on Elementor full width template. After you do that, I want you to click on update. Then click edit with Elementor. Okay, so this is what we have as of now. Now, let me explain the basics of Elementor. So the first thing about Elementor is the rows. So these rows can be divided into as many columns as up to 6. These rows are going to be at the bottom of the page and you can just click and add whichever one that you want. The next thing about Elementor is the modules. So the modules are found on the left sidebar of the page. You can just drag and drop them onto the page and you can now start editing them. So the Elementor Free offers a few options, but if you want more options, you can go with Elementor Pro. However, some companies have also provided free other Elementor modules, which you can have by installing their plugins. The border is going to be the line that surrounds the modules. It can be invisible if the size is 0 pixels. So the padding is going to be the space that surrounds the element, but inside the border. However, the margin is going to be the space that surrounds the element, but outside of the border. Then the pixels is the unit of measurement for each and every element. So this can be the text or an icon or or the space or the margin, this is all measured in pixels. So now that we are done with the basics of Elementor, it's now time for us to design the website using Elementor. So the first thing we have to start designing is going to be the homepage. So as you can see right now where I am, this is the homepage that we're going to be designing. However, if you go to the website over here, you will notice that the homepage looks completely different because this homepage over here is going to be empty. There's nothing over here. But if you go to this homepage, we have this hello world, welcome to WordPress and all that. So we want to remove this, right? Because it doesn't belong on the homepage. So what's happening right now is that the homepage has not yet been set. We created a page called the home. However, that doesn't mean it automatically becomes the homepage. So let's fix that. So to fix that, I'm going to go back to my WordPress dashboard and I'm going to go to settings right over here and I'm going to go under the reading settings. Just click on reading over here. Now you see that your homepage displays your latest posts. That's why we have this thing over here. So we want to remove it. So let's go to your homepage displays a static page. And on homepage, let's select the home page, right? So homepage, select home. Then on post page, select blog. This is where we're going to be showing our blog posts. I'll cover more about that in the future, in the next steps. So now after you're done with that, click on Save Changes. Now that we've set our homepage and our blog page, let's go refresh the website just to check if everything went well. This is the thing with WordPress. Whenever you make a change, you just want to check because something might go wrong. So let's go check. I'm going to refresh this page. And as you can see, the homepage is now empty, which means we have successfully changed our homepage to the original homepage. Now, the next step after you complete this step is to add the color palette to Elementor. I know that you've added the color palette to the theme. However, the color palette has not yet been added to Elementor. So now let's go and import our colors from the color scheme to Elementor. To do that, we now have to go back to the homepage. I'm sure you've opened your homepage in Elementor and we're going to click over here on the three dots and we're going to go to site settings. And on site settings, I now want you to go to global colors. Okay, so this is the section that you're going to be adding your colors. So now let's add our colors. So now we're going to be using ColorZilla to import our colors over here from these colors over here to the Elementor, right? So we're going to start by importing all these colors. So now I'm going to click on the ColorZilla icon, which is the extension. It should show an icon on the top over here. Just click it. Then I'm going to click Page Color Picker over here. Then I'm going to go on the color that I want to import and I'm going to right click on it. Then I'm going to go back to Elementor and I'm going to say Add Color. Then I'm going to call this color the main color. Main color. Okay, wrong spelling over there. Main color. Then I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to click on left click, right click. Then I'm going to say paste. Okay, just like that, the main color has been imported. So we're going to do this for the rest, for all the colors that we have on our color scheme, on our color palette. So let's do that. So okay guys, so after doing this, as you can see, I've now added my main color dark version, main color light version. Then there's the accent color one, which is going to be the orange one. Then there's accent color, which is going to be a bit purple. Then the accent color, which is going to be a bit pinkish. Now it's time for us to add the colors for the neutral colors, which are going to be black and white. So I'm just going to click add color. Right here, I'm going to say black. So black is going to be the darkest. It's just going to be 6 zeros. Then I'm going to add white. which is going to be just 6 Fs, or you can just drag these to the corner over there, just to the left top corner, and you can just do that. And now I'm just going to click on update. Okay, so after you've done this, you have now imported your colors from the color palette to Elementor. Now we can go on and design the website. So I'm just going to go back over here, and I'm now going to just go back, just click the X over here. All right, now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add one main row. So I'm just going to go here and click over here, and I'm going to add one main row over here. Now I want you to add a second main row, and I'm going to tell you why I'm saying you should do that. Now you can see that on this main row we have this top section over here, which allows us to control the main row. If you look at this first main row, it doesn't show them because they're kind of hidden behind the header, and this is like a fault with the theme, but however, it's not going to affect anything. All you have to do is just to start working from the second main row, then you'll delete this one later on. So okay, so after you add your main row over here, I want you now to just change the size of this main row. Just click on these dots over here, these 6 dots, and I want you to change the height of the main row to minimum height, then go to 540 pixels. 540. Okay, and it's going to be this big because we want the image to cover most of the top section of the home page. Then after you do that, I want you to go to the left, to the style side of things. Then on background type, I want you to click on classic because we want to add a background image over here. So I'm just going to click on images over here. Then amongst the images that you've imported in the previous steps, I want you to select this one with the yellow background, and I'm going to say insert media. Now, after inserting the media, you can see that this guy is a bit cut out, right? Like you can see that the image is being cut over here, which means that the right side of the image is being cut. However, we want, if the image is too big, we want the image to be trimmed on both sides, not just on the right side. So what you want to do is you want to go to position over here and click on center. Now you can see that the image is being trimmed on both the right side and the left side, and that leaves the main part of the image on the center, which is nice. So I'm just going to click on update over here. Then let's go to our homepage and check if what we are doing is going to affect the homepage. You know, if the changes are going to appear on the homepage, refresh the page. And you can now see that we now have this guy on the homepage. Now the next step for us is to add the text on the left side of the page. So now let's do that. To add the text on the left side of the page, first of all, I'm just going to add an inner section. And I'm going to explain in detail why I'm doing this. I'm going to add an inner section over here. Then in the inner section, I'm going to add the heading module. I'm going to drag and drop it into the first column over here. Then I'm going to add the text editor module in the first column of the inner section. Then the last, I'm going to add the HTML module. The HTML module is going to be the module that is going to contain your form, you know, the form that is going to be collecting emails on your website. So now I'm done. So the thing is, this text is, as you can see, this text is a bit, you know, squashed on the left column. It's a bit squashed. So we want to make this left column a bit bigger because so that the text can just spread a little bit to the right. However, you must be asking now, like, why am I using 2 columns over here if the text is a bit squashed in 1 column? The reason why I'm doing this is because I don't want this text to spread to this guy over here. I don't want the text to overlap onto the image, onto the main part of the image. So that's why I'm using 2 columns, which means this column is going to be empty and it's going to be protecting that guy from, you know, from the text so that it doesn't spread to that guy. So now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click on edit column, and on the column width, I'm going to put it at 65%. You can see now the text is no longer squashed. It's a bit to the right side of the things. However, it's not affecting this guy because this guy is being protected by this empty column. Okay, so great. And I'm going to click on update. Now I'm going to go back to this and I'm going to refresh the page to see if the text is now showing. And you can see that we now have the text. However, the HTML module is not showing because we have not added the subscribe form yet. We'll do that in the next step. So now let's go and design this text and this text over here so that it looks similar to our end product. I'm just going to go and click Elementor. and I'm going to click on this pencil icon on the heading text, just like that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my content. So you can write whatever you want. I'm just going to say start a website today. Okay, so here's the thing, right? This text is a bit too small, so we want to make it bigger. So I'm just going to go over here on size, and I'm going to go on the biggest, which is XXL. You can see the text is now big. Then on alignment, I'm going to put it on the center. Now, here is the most important thing about why I added an inner section. You can see that on alignment, I made it center, right? If I do this, you can see that it's center. However, it's still on the left side of things. It's on center, but still on the left column. This is because if I had put one column, this text would be, if it was going to be center, it would be now, overlapping on this guy, and it would be on the center over here, which would not look good. So this is why you should add 2 columns in the inner section, which is very important. Okay, now I'm just going to go and change the style of this text in the style tab. I'm going to click on style. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the text color, and I'm just going to click on this global icon over here. It shows the colors that we've chosen, and I'm going to make it white, right? Then on typography, I want to make this text a bit bigger. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to type 60 pixels. Yeah, 60 is nice. Then I'm going to go on text shadow, and I'm just going to activate it. Okay, don't change anything in the settings, just click on the pencil icon and it's going to be activated. Now, the reason why I put text shadow is because if the text shadow is not on, let's say I do this, you see that this text is like inside the background image. We want to make sure that this text is not part of the background image by showing that it has a shadow and it's separated from the background image. That's why I'm going to click on text shadow and I'm going to activate it. So now it looks much better. You can see there's shadow to show that this text is not part of this image. After I'm done with that, I'm now going to go over here and design this text over here, which is the text editor text. So for you, you would have to add your content right in here. I'm not going to do that, but you would have to add your content right in there. Then I'm going to go to the style tab, and I'm going to make the text alignment to center right over here. Then I'm going to change the text color here to white, and I'm going to click white. Then I'm going to go to typography here, and I'm going to change the family to caveat brush. The family to caveat brush so that it looks a bit more stylish. Caveat brush. Then I'm going to make it a bit bigger, somewhere around 30 pixels, which is going to be half of this, which is 60 pixels. This is going to be 30 pixels. Okay, so just by doing that, you can see that it now looks much better. So I'm just going to click on update. So this is going to look much better on your website because this text is going to be actual text. This is just replacement text for me. So by doing that, you've now completed making the top section of the website. Now let's focus on how we can make this form over here so that your viewers can subscribe to your website. So if you refresh this page right over here, we can refresh it like this. You will notice that the text is now white and everything looks nice. However, there's this top section, this white section over here, just below the header. We want to remove that. But to remove this section, you are going to have to go back to Elementor. This section is caused by this empty section over here. Now you can see that if we hover over this main section, you can see there is a plus icon to add section. Then there's this dot to edit the section. Then there's this X over here to delete the section. We want to do the same for this column over here. We want to delete it now because we are done making this section. To delete it, however, it's not showing the same for this. It's not showing this part. However, we can just go on the delete section of the second column, and we can just go on top over here slowly, and you can see that we can now delete this top section. And I'm just going to click on it, and now it's gone, and I'm going to click update. And if I go back to this page and just refresh it, that white line is gone, and now we can move on to creating this subscribe form. So before we start making this email opt-in form, you have to understand that an average visitor goes through 138 pages per day. And of these pages, only 2 of them might be yours. This is why only 30% of your visitors are actually going to return to your website. And to fix this problem, we would need to collect emails. If you're collecting emails, the next time you want the visitor to return to your website, all you have to do is just to send them an email and they'll return to your website. If you don't have that email, there is nothing you can do. This is why this part of the website is very, very important. So if you look at our website, this section is at the top of the page so that the user can put in their email before they even scroll the page. We also have another page to collect emails called the newsletter page because this is very, very important. So to get this form, you have to go to article.com/gr. The link is also in the description below. So you're going to land on this page over here, and all you have to do is just to put in your email right over here and sign up for free. So once you're done signing up, now you would have to log into your account. So I'm just going to log into my account and we can start creating the form. Okay, so after you log into your account, under quick actions over here, I want you to click on create form. Now, if you scroll down over here, you can see that we have so many forms over here, so many of them. And you can choose whichever form you want and put it on your website and you can start collecting emails just like that. So let me show you how you would put the form on. So for me right now, I would like to choose this form over here, which is called the Real Estate Pro. I'm just going to click on use template. So instead of just putting the form in, we want to edit the form first so that it looks good on our website. Because as you can see, this has images and text and colors that might not fit on our website. So we want to edit that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this text over here and I'm going to delete this text, which is discover your next cozy home, because we're not a real estate website, right? So I'm going to delete this. Then I'm just going to click on it like this. Click on the form like this, and I'm going to go to the style tab because I want to delete this image right here. So I'm just going to go on background and I'm going to go background image bp.jpg. I'm just going to click on the X and the image is gone. Then I'm also going to click back over there and I want to make the form colorless, right? The background colorless, because we're going to choose our own colors from the website. So I'm just going to click on this icon over here and now the form is now colorless. So we are done with that. So the thing is, I'm now going to go on add field over here. Now there is a problem with this form. It says name, surname, and email. Like, users don't want to put a lot of information when they're signing up for something. They just want to put their email or their name and email and they're done. That's all they need. So for us, for business owners, we have to put in the name and the email so that we have a better connection with our users when we send the email. We want to mention their name in the email. That's why we need the name field. So I'm going to delete this name, first name field over here, delete it. The surname field, I'm going to delete it. Then I'm only going to add the name field over here. Okay, so this name field is different from the name field that we just deleted, because the name field we deleted was the first name. We want the name field to include the first name, the middle name, and the surname. And if they have a third name, we want that included too. So now we are done with this part. Now let's edit this form to make it smaller. So I'm just going to reduce over here these borders. I'm just going to reduce them like this to make this form way, way smaller, just like that. And we're now done with that part. Now the next step for us is to change the background of this button over here. We want this button to have a background that represents our colors, the colors on our website. So I'm just going to click on the button, double click on it, on the button. Now as you can see, we now have all the control of the button color and the button font as well. So I'm now going to click on color over here. And I can change the color by changing the colors all right over here in this field over here. So now I'm just going to go back to my color palette over here. And you can see that for the buttons, this was the color that we want, right? If you look right over here to our website, this color is just on the top side of the homepage. This is the color we want to put on the button so that everything looks nice and, we have a consistent color scheme. So I'm just going to go back, right? And this color is what? 2687E8. I'm going to put over here 2687E8. And you can see the color has changed and I'm going to click on OK. We want also to change the hover color over here so that if somebody hovers over the button, it changes into our accent color. The accent color we're going to be using for this is going to be this color over here, which is E3733A. Okay, now that we're done adding the color, I'm just going to click on OK. Okay, so now the next step for us is to change the font of this text over here. So we're just going to choose a font that looks good on our website. So for this one, I'm just going to go with the Railway. I'm going to click on Railway, and you can see that the font is much better. Then when I'm done editing the form like this, I'm just going to click on Publish over here, and it will take you to a page like this one over here. We will publish this form to your website. Now, what I want you to do is just to click on the copy button over here, copy it. Then we're going to go back to our home page and click on the HTML element that we added that time, the HTML code element. Then I'm just going to go here and I'm going to paste my code like this. And you can now see that the form is now on my page. I'm going to click on Update. Then when I go to my website over here, you can see that right now we don't have a form, and I click on Refresh. When the page loads, you can see that I now have a form on my website. So now we are done with that step. Let's go on and create the next section. Okay guys, so now let's design the icon section. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just scroll down over here, and I'm going to add one main row, this main row over here. So I'm done with that. So now the next thing is, you can see that this main row, I want to change the color of this main row. So we're just going to go to the background type under the style tab, and I'm going to click on classic. Then on the color, I'm going to choose the main color of the website, which is this blue main color over here. Okay, I'm done. So the thing is, this section is a bit too small. I want to increase it so that when the user goes to the page, they can only see the banner and this section over here. So I'm just going to go on advanced, and I'm going to first of all delink this. The reason why I'm going to delink is because I want to add padding for separately for the top, right, bottom, and left. I want to add those paddings separately. So now I'm going to add the top padding to 10 and the bottom padding to 10. Now our section looks a bit bigger, which is nice. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to click on the Rubik's Cube over here. Then I'm going to search for the icon list module. And I'm going to just drag and drop it right in our section, just like that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the layout from default to inline, so that instead of from top to bottom, they is from left to right. So now I'm just going to click on inline. Okay, good. The next step for me is just to click on the list item 1, and I want to change these icons over here. So the first icon is going to be, I'm just going to type on a smile, and I'm going to choose on this one over here, which is color filled, which is going to look much better than these ones which don't have the color. So I'm going to click on insert. The next icon is going to be the handshake. This one over here, this handshake over here, and I'm going to click on insert. Then the last one is going to be the tachometer, which is right over here, this one over here. Then I'm going to click on insert. After I'm done like putting these icons, now I want to change my text over here. So for this one, I'm just going to say happy customers for the smile face. Then for the next one, I'm going to go over here for the handshake. I will just say experience. Then for this one, I'm going to say motivated. Okay, now that we're done putting in the text and the icons, we can now proceed to the style tab so that we can style this. So the space between, I'm going to put it to 50 pixels so that these icons are not too close. We want there to be a bit more space between them. Then we're going to say alignment to center so that they're at the center of the page. Now let's go on and activate the divider over here so that there's separation between the icons. Then I'm going to put the divider weight to 3 pixels so that it's a bit more thicker. And I'm going to change the color to white over here. Then I'm going to go down and I'm going to click white, and now it looks good, on blue. So I'm going to create white. Then I'm going to go to the icon, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the icon color also to white for consistency. Then I'm going to make the icon a bit bigger, so I'm going to put it on 30 pixels. So now the icon is much bigger. Then I'm going to go to the text as well, and I'm going to change the text to white for consistency again. Then I'm going to change the typography over here. Then I'm going to change the size to 30 pixels too. And now you can see that this looks much better, which then I'm going to click on update. So after making the section, we have to go and check on the website. So now let's refresh the page. Now we have the section that we just created. And then if a user just scrolls down like this, they can see the heading, the banner section where they can collect the emails, and the reason why they should put in their email, which is because we have happy customers, we are experienced, and we are motivated. This is just to persuade the user to put in their email right over here. So now let's move on to the next section. Okay, so now it's time for us to make the icons section. However, if you just go back to our wireframe, right, you notice that all these sections that are about to follow are kind of similar. You can see that at the top we have the divider with the icon, then we have the heading, then we have the text, then followed by the content. So it will be very time wasting for us to just create this from scratch each and every time. This is why we should use what I call templates. Let me show you how to do it. So now let's go back over here. And what we want to make is a template that is going to be similar to all the sections that we have to create. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add one main row over here. And in that main row, first of all, I'm going to be adding my content into this main row. However, I don't want my content to be squashed, you see, and I don't want my content to be too close to the neighbor section, right? So I'm going to go to advanced over here. Then I'm going to delink this padding so that I can put on some padding on the top and the bottom so that the content is completely separate from the neighboring content. So I'm going to put 100 pixels over here, then another 100 pixels on the bottom. So now that our content is going to be in this row over here, and this is just space over here, which looks nice. Then I'm going to add 4 main sections because we're going to have a section for the divider icons, then we're going to have a section for the heading, the text, and then the main content. So I'm going to add 4 main inner sections. So I'm going to put 1 and then 4. Okay, so now let's start working on the first inner section, right? The first thing I want to do is I want to duplicate column number 1 because by default the inner section only has 2 columns and we want 3 columns because we want to put our stuff at the center, right? So I'm going to duplicate column number 1. Now we have 3 columns. And if I click on the Rubik's Cube, I'm going to look for the divider element. Then I'm going to drag and drop it right in here. Okay, then I'm going to add an element which is going to be the icon. Okay, then I'm going to put alignment on center so that the divider is just at the center. Then I'm going to go to the style over here and I want to change the color of the divider. So I'm just going to click on custom. Then I'm going to choose the main color, dark version. Then I also want the weight of this divider to be a bit thicker. So I'm going to put it on 2 pixels. Okay. Then I'm going to just go down over here and I want to change the color of the icon so that it looks similar to the divider. So I'm just going to put the same color, which is going to be main dark. Okay, now we're done with the divider. Let's move on to the next inner section module. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to duplicate column 1 to create 3 columns. I'm going to say duplicate. Okay, now I'm going to just click on the Rubik's Cube and add my heading right in here. Then I'm just going to say heading, right? Then I'm going to make it center. So I don't want you editing anything, like don't put anything fancy in here because it doesn't matter. All you need to know is that the heading is going to be put right over there. Now we are done with this inner section module. Let's move on to the third one and I'm going to duplicate it to create 3 columns in here. Then in this column, I want to add my text, right? The text, and then I'm going to drag and drop the text editor in there. Now the problem with this section is that this text is too squashed, like we want there to be a bit more space, around this text. So I'm going to go to column number 1 and I'm going to put it to 20%. Then column number 2, I'm going to put it to 60%. And by default, the last column is also going to be 20% so that we have 20, 60, and another 20, which is going to be 100%. Now the color of this text is not separate from the color of the heading, which is a very bad design thing. So let's edit this text. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to style. Then I'm going to change alignment to center so that it looks like this. Then on text color, I'm just going to put in a new color, which is going to be B5, 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 which looks something like this. So after I do this, I'm kind of done, but we have the fourth inner section module, and I'm going to duplicate this column number 1, and now we have 3 columns. This is where our main content is going to be, so we don't want to add anything because the main content is going to be different. However, we will have a divider, a heading, and some text. That's why we put it right over there. So now I'm done with this. I'm just going to click update so that I can check how my template looks on my website. I'm going to go to my website right here, then I'm going to refresh. Okay, after I refresh, you can see that this is what our content is going to look like, which looks really nice. You know, the divider icon over here, the heading, some text, and the main content is just going to be just below this. So that's good. So now that we are done creating this section, let's go and save it as a template. So to do that, I'm just going to hover over these 6 dots over here. Then I'm going to right click and click Save as Template. The name, I'm going to call it Repeat Section because we are going to be using it repeatedly, right? Then I'm going to click on Save. And just like that, you have created your own template. Now, what if you want more templates, right? What if you don't even want to create this and you want to use the one I created? To do that, all you have to do is go back to your article dashboard. And if you go just under templates over here, all you have to do is just to click on download over here. So before you download, I just want to show you something. These templates are for every single page and every single section that we've created. This is for the home page. This one is going to be for the services page. This one is going to be for the blog page, about page, contact us page. So they will be for every page. To download them, all you have to do now is just click on download over here, and the download process will start. Now, I want to make sure that you understand that if you use a download manager, the files might be corrupt. So if you can, just let the Chrome default download manager download this file. It will be much easier for you. So after you download, you're going to go to your downloads folder, and you're going to see this folder over here. So this is what we have downloaded before, the WordPress images. So this is the folder that you want. So if you extract this folder, extract here, you will have these JSON files over here. So these are the templates that we are going to be using in the future, right? However, if you want to import these JSON files, you would have to go to your dashboard like this. So I'm going to go into my dashboard. Then under templates, just go under templates, dashboard, then templates. Then click on import templates. Choose file. Then you would have to choose the file that you'd like to import. Let's say I want to import the services icon section. This one, I'm just click on open, and I'm going to click on import now. And just by doing that, you can see now I have the icon section. However, what if I want to import each and every single template that is inside the folder? So I'll just click on import templates. Then I'm going to click on choose file. Then you will choose this compressed folder over here. This one, WordPress tutorial template. Sorry, this one over here. Then I'm going to click on open. Then I'm going to click on import now. Okay. So this is just by doing that, you can see that I have imported each and every template that was inside that file. Let's say I want to use it on my website, right? So let's say I want to use it on this website. So I'm just going to refresh this page. And whenever I feel like adding a template, all I have to do is just instead of clicking the add section icon over here, I would have to click this add template with the folder icon. And you can see that you have templates for blocks. These templates are from Elementor themselves. They created them for you. Then you have templates for full pages. These are also from Elementor. However, most of them are for Elementor Pro. So if you want that, you can just get the Elementor Pro in the description below. However, if you go to My Templates, you will see all the templates that we've imported. These are the templates that we have imported, and they will be inside your WordPress dashboard. So just by doing that, so now let me say I want to put the template for the, let's say the icon section. I can just click on insert, then import document settings. I'm just going to click on no. And just by doing that, you can see now that I now have the icon section just like that. I've now created the icon section from the template. And if I delete this, you can see that I now have the icon section. If I update the page and I go over here and I refresh the page, I now have the icon section below just like that. However, I'm going to be teaching you how to create this section from scratch, so don't worry about that. So okay, now let's design this section from scratch so that the next time you import a template, it's only because you want to, not because you need to. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just delete this section over here and I'm going to update the page. So let's see how we can make this section from scratch. So by now, I'm sure that you have made your own repeat section template, right? Now let's first install that repeat section template. Under my templates, look for repeat section and then insert. Click on no. Okay, so this is the section that we have as of now. Let's just update the page and let's go refresh this page to just see what it looks like. Okay, so right now this is what we have and we want to achieve that result of the icon section. The first thing I'm going to do is, of course, I'm going to change this icon here to light bulb. Then I'm going to change this heading over here to what we offer, right? Because these are our services. Then if you want, you can also change this text, to describe, a little bit about your services. So the first thing I'm going to do on the fourth inner section is I'm going to click on the Rubik's Cube and I'm going to add some stuff in here. I'm going to add an icon box. And I'm going to drag it and I'm going to put it in column 1. Now here's the problem before we even proceed. You can see that there isn't enough space between this text and this icon box. It's just too closely packed. So let's go over here and increase the padding of this whole entire inner section module. I'm going to click over here. Then I'm going to go to advanced and I'm going to put 25 pixels padding on the top and on the bottom, right? So I'm going to first of all delink because I don't want to put padding on the right and the left. So I'm going to put 25 top and then 25 bottom. Now you can see that there's a little bit of space just, on the top of our section over here, so that it's not too close. These two sections are not too close. Then I'm going to just update it. Okay, now let's focus on just this over here, this one icon box over here, to make it look the way we want it to look. And for now, let's not insert anything in the other two icon boxes. And I'll explain to you why we're going to do that. So I'm just going to first of all start by editing this first column, not the icon box, but the column the icon box is in. I'm going to go to style, then I'm going to go to the border, then I'm going to say the border should be solid, right? Now we have a solid border. Then the width of the border, I'm going to go and put it to 2 pixels. Then on the color over here, I'm going to put it to B5. I didn't register this color. It's hashtag B5, which is going to look something like our text over here. So, and I'm also going to just put this color on the global colors as well. So if I want to register this color right now, I'm just going to click on the plus icon over here, create new global color. And I'm just going to call it the border color. And I'm going to click on create so that the next time you want to use it, it's going to be readily there. Okay, on the border radius, I'm going to put 10 pixels. So the reason why I put border radius is to just, make sure that the edges of this border are rounded so that they are not square and, have corners. I don't want them to be like that. Okay, I'm done with that part. Now I'm just going to just go to the advanced section over here. Now the problem with this border is that it's too close to the next border. So I want to increase, a little bit of space between this border and the next border. So to do that, I'm just going to put on a margin of somewhere around 10 pixels all around. I'm going to put on a 10 pixels over here. Okay. So the reason why I added margin instead of padding is because if we had increased our padding, only the space inside the border would increase. So the whole section would just increase in size. However, there won't be any space outside the border. This is why we're using margin. Now that we are done with that part, so this section now looks good. If I do this, you can see that it looks okay. We're going to edit a little bit more, but for now it looks okay. Now let's go and focus on the icon module inside the first column. I'm just going to click on the pencil icon over here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the view from default to framed. Now, after I do this, you're going to see this change over here. Okay, now you see there's now a circle just around, our icon. You can also change this shape from circle to square if you want, but I'm going to stick with circle. Then if I go to the style section right over here, I'm going to change the primary color of this section to use white. I'm going to use white over here. Then the secondary color is going to be an accent color. Let's say this one over here, the purple one over here. Okay, so now you can see that the icon is white and it's surrounded by purple color. If you want it to be the opposite thing, you can just say over here, this first primary color is going to be purple and the secondary color can be white. So you see now the icon now has the color and the surrounding is now white under a purple border, which I personally don't like. So I'm just going to go back to what I do. I'm going to say this is going to be white and this is going to be the accent color purple, so that the icon itself is white and it's surrounded by a lot of color, which looks much better in my opinion. Then I'm done with that. The next thing to do for me is to go to the content over here, and on the description over here, I want to change the color of the description because I don't want the description to look the same with the heading. So I'm going to go on the color, then I'm just going to go on the color that I just recently added, which is the border color. I'm going to add it like this. Then the description looks, similar to the border and also similar to this text color over here, which is going to look, very nice. And I'm going to click on update this. Now, if I go and refresh my page here, you can see that we now have the icon right over here. Now, this icon does not look good. The reason why is that, first of all, it's not square. I like it better when it looks a bit more square. And the second thing is that this border over here, is the one which I'm talking about when I'm saying square. I want this border to be a bit more square, and I want there to be a bit more space in between, like on the top of this icon and on the bottom of this text. I want to increase the space over there so that things don't look squashed. Okay, so I'm just going to go back, and on advanced here, I'm going to go and put a padding over here of 25 on top and 25 on bottom. This is the padding around the icon. So around the icon, 25 on top, 25 on bottom. Then I'm going to click on update. And if I refresh the page, you can now see that it looks much better. You see, it's a bit of the whole border is like a square and there's some space around it. Okay, now here's the thing now. For us to create everything from scratch again, it will be a waste of time, So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete column number 2. I'm going to delete column number 3. Then I now have only one column. Then I'm going to duplicate this column 2 times. And now we have 3 columns with icons that look similar, right? Then this one I'm going to change the color. I'm just going to start by changing the color, this color to pinkish, this pinkish color. Then this one I'm going to change the color again, secondary color to something a bit orange, this one over here. And you can see just by doing that, we've now created 3 icons that look nice. The next step for me is now to change these icons. So the first icon, this one, I'm going to go to content. I'm going to click on the icon. I'm going to look for cogs. Okay. Then I'm going to click insert and I'm going to change the heading. You can change it to whatever you want. I'm just going to say service 1. Then I'm going to go on the second one over here and I'm going to look for the gem icon. This one, I really like it. Then I'm going to say this is going to be service 2. Then this one, I'm gonna look for the ruler icon. This one over here, and I'm gonna call this service 3. Service 3. And then I'm going to just update it. So I think by now you can see that how easy it is to create these sections, right? So before you start importing any templates that you've bought somewhere else, it's always better to just make it yourself. It will make you better in design, and it will also save you a lot of struggles in editing templates that you didn't create, right? So now that I've created this section, I'm just going to add a button in the bottom here so that it it looks better. This button should lead the user on aligning on standard. This button should lead the user to the services page because they have just read our services. I'm gonna say this button, I'm gonna just copy services, copy link here, and I'm going to just paste it in here in the link section here. Then I'm just going to change this button. I'm going to go to style here. Then on background color, I'm just going to choose on the dark main color like this. Then on content, I'm just going to go to text, and I'm going to change this to view, let's say view all services, just like this. And I'm going to click on update. And when we refresh this page, you can see that we have now easily created this section right over here, just like that. So guys, one thing we forgot to do on the services section was to just go in there and put a white background. These icons would look better on a white background. So I'm just going to click on these icons here, and I'm going to go to background, and background type I'm going to go to classic, right? Then on color, I'm going to go to default. Then I'm going to click white. Then I'm just going to say update. And if I go to my page, you see this gray color is going to disappear. I'm just going to say refresh the page. And the page is now white, and the icons look much better. So now let's go on to the next section. So now let's make a little bit about us section. So to do that, I'm just going to go right over here. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add our repeat section as a template. I'm going to look for the repeat section. I'm going to say insert right over there, and I'm going to say no. Okay, now we have our repeat section. So when we have our repeat section, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and change this icon to something like, let's say, live ring. So this is the one I used. I don't know why, but you can just pick your own if you want. Then this heading, I'm just going to say a bit about us. About us. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this section because it's not present on our website. So I'm just going to remove it. Okay. Now let's go into the design of this section. So the first thing I'm going to do with the main section is I'm going to change its background color so that we have an alternating white and light version of the main color. So to do that, I'm going to go to style, background type on classic. Color, I'm going to put it to main color light, this color over here. Okay, so now I want to go to the shape divider because I want to just put in a little bit of more of design onto this section so that it doesn't look just basic. You can see that these borders here are just basic. We just want to change that. We want to put a little bit more design. So on top, I'm going to go to type. On none, I'm going to change it to waves. Now we have these waves over here. However, we have one problem with these waves. These waves are digging into our content. As you can see, this wave over here is just digging into our content. And if you remember, we put about 100 pixels padding on this section over here. You can see that. So we want these waves to just have a maximum of 50 pixels height so that they don't exceed half of our padding. So on height, I'm going to change it to 50 pixels over here. Okay, now these waves are not going to dig into our content. I'm going to do the same for the bottom. I'm going to change it to waves, the shape divider. Then I'm going to put it to 50 pixels so that they don't dig into our content. Okay, I'm now done with that part. Now let's move on to this section where we're going to be putting on our content. Now here's the thing. We're going to be putting an image over here, right? That image is going to be shifted to the left, then to the bottom. And we don't want that image to mix with our content on the first column. This is why we're going to be putting this to 50%, this one 50%, and this one to 10%, the second column, and this one is going to be 40%. I'll explain more in detail after we finish making this section why I'm doing so, why I'm putting this empty column here. So now I'm just going to add some text editor in here, editor content. The next thing I'm going to add, let's say some icon list right in there. Then I'm going to add, of course, a button at the bottom. Okay. Now I'm going to add an image right in this section. I'm going to add an image. We are going to first of all deal with this section over here. I'm sure you know about the text editor. Let's just deal with these icons right over here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just delete this icon and this icon. Now on our page we're going to have 3 icons. The reason why I'm deleting these other icons is because if I was to edit, let's say I have 3 icons over here. If I was to edit the color of this icon, it would affect all of these 3 icons. However, we want to have different colors for this icon. So this is why we're just going to We're just going to have only 1 icon per module so that we can edit them separately. So now I'm just going to go here and I'm going to choose this one as my icon, this checklist circle. And I'm going to say insert, right? After I'm done with that, I'm just going to go to style here. On icon, I'm going to make it a bit bigger. I'm going to say, let's say 30 pixels. Then on text to typography, I'm going to make this 22 pixels. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to change the color of this icon. So I'm going to go to content, style here, icon, the color, I'm going to put it to this one over here. Now, when I duplicate this icon like this, I don't like the fact that this icon is too close to this icon over here. These icons are too close. So to fix this problem, I'm first of all going to delete these extra icons and I'm going to add padding around just one of these icons. I'm going to click on this icon and I'm going to go and I'm going to add padding, top padding of let's say 10 pixels, bottom padding of 10 pixels as well. So that when I duplicate them like this, there is a bit more space between these icons. You see, this is what I wanted, which is much better. And then I'm going to click on update. So the next step now is to change the colors of this icon and change the text as well. So I'm going to go on the second icon and I'm going to change the color to maybe this one over here. We're going to be using our accent colors. Then you can put in whatever text you would like in those icons. Now on the button, I'm just going to say, change the button to learn more. And I'll put a link to the About Us page. I'm going to copy the link of the About Us. Then I'll just paste in the link right over here. Then on the style, I'll just change the background color to the darker version of the main color. This one over here. And I will be done with this section. So now let's move on to the most interesting section, which is this one over here, which is going to be the image. How are we going to make this image, pop and, look good? So I'm just going to choose this image, which is going to be a picture of the team. Then I'm going to insert the image like that. Then I'm going to go on the third column, edit the third column itself, and I'm going to change the background to look something like this, the main color, right? So that it looks good with the heading and the text on the side as well. Okay, now I want to shift this image to the left, then down, right? if I update this and I go and refresh the page, you can see that this image is just inside our container. So we want to take this image outside our container. So let's do that. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go to the advanced. I'm going to click on the image, then I'm going to go to advanced. Then I'm going to go on positioning and I'm going to change it from default to absolute, to absolute. Then on the orientation, this is going to be the side we're going to be pushing our image away. Okay, so if I want to push the image away from the right side, I'm going to change the orientation to right. Then I'm going to put it to, let's say, 40 pixels. You can see that it has now been pushed to the left side by 40 pixels. Then I want to push it from the top by maybe, let's say, 60 pixels, and I'm going to say 60 pixels here. Then I'm going to say update. If I go and refresh this page, it should look something like this. You can see that our image now looks as if it's being pushed away from this section. Now, one thing I want to do over here is I want to increase the space around this whole entire section. So that is a bit separate from the heading over here because they seem a little bit too close. So I'm just going to go now, and on this section, when I click these dots over here, go to advanced, the padding, I'm just going to increase top 30, then bottom 30. And when I say update and I just refresh this page, you can see that we now have a little bit more space around that and it looks much better. So now let's move on to the next section. So now it's time for us to create the why choose us section. So this section is going to look a little bit similar to the services section. However, this section is mainly meant to persuade the user to fill up the form, the getter code form that is just below that section. Well, I'm also going to be showing you some new features in this section, so don't worry, it's not just a repeated section. So, however, to start designing this section, I'm just going to just go over here and I'm going to duplicate this section right here, because we're going to be making our section based on the what we offer section. Then I'm just going to drag that section and put it just below like this. Okay, so I'm just going to make some tweaks over here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tweak this heading to why choose us, right? Then I'm done. Then I'm just going to delete this button on the just below, delete it. Okay, so after you do that, what I want you to do is I want you to add another inner section just below. And I want you to duplicate column 1 to create 3 columns. Then I want you to drag and drop all these icons into the new section. And after you're done, I want you to just put some padding around this new section over here on the top and bottom so that our content, is not too squashed. 30 and 30. Okay, now this is where the fun begins. Now that we have our 3 icons, we're just going to change them later on. But for now, the first thing we want to do is let's put on some borders onto these icons. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to click over here on column 1. Then I'm going to go to the style on the border. I'm just going to choose solid. Then I'm going to delink this part because I only want to put borders on one side, which is going to be the right side. And on the right side, I'm going to put 2 pixels of width of border. I'm going to do the same for column number 2. Go to border, then I'm going to delink this part, choose solid, and I'm going to put delink this part, then just 2 pixels, and I'm going to update. And when I refresh my page over here, you can see that the border is just on the right side of column 1, column 2, which makes this seem as if it's the divider, you see. Now that's not even the interesting part. Now let me show you what we can do if we have borders that are like this, So if your borders are like this gives you space to put in some motion effects. Now let me show you what this motion effect. The first motion effect is, let's say, this one over here. I'm going to click on this icon. Then I'm going to go to advanced. And on motion effects over here, entrance animation, I'm just going to say sliding in from the left. You see, now the icon slides in from the left every time we load the page. Now this would not work well if we were on this section, because as you can see, this section, the icons are enclosed inside the border. So it would look very, very weird if this icon was coming from the left side of the page into the border, because the border, is all around. However, the effect that we could have put over here is if the icon was getting bigger, that would have been better. So now I'm going to put another effect here over here. So instead of coming from the left, right now I'm going to go to motion effects and I'm going to say slide in from the bottom. Slide in. Let's say slide in up. Okay, slide in up. You can see now it's popping just in between those dividers. Then this one I'm going to go to advanced on motion effects. I'm just going to say slide in right. You can see now it's coming from the right. And when I click on update over here and I refresh my page, I go to here and I refresh my page, you can see that we now have a really good motion, effect on this section, which is just going to make our website, a bit more attractive to the visitor. So now let me just replace these icons over here so that they can match this section. For the first one, I'm going to go here and I'm going to choose for, click on this icon, go to content, and I'm going to choose hourglass. Show them that hourglass, this half-filled hourglass over here. And on the content, I'm just going to say we are fast. So the hourglass shows that we are fast. And on this one, I'm going to go and choose, let's say, comment, this comment over here. And I'm going to say 24/7 chat, right? If they want chat with us, they say 24/7 chat via email also. Then on this last one over here, I'm going to look for the chart line over here to just say that we are dedicated, to give them results. Now, if you want to explain more about this particular icon, you see, all you have to do now is to put the heading that is going to describe the icon. Then the text just below is going to describe exactly why you are fast, why your business is fast, why your business is 24/7 chat, why your business produces good results. And then you can just describe it below. Then I'm going to update this section. And just like that, we have created this section. The next section is going to be one of the most important sections, which is the get a quote section. So, okay, guys, now it's time for us to create the get a quote section. Now, I'm just going to search over here, quote, and you can see that there's just blockade and testimonial. There is no get a quote. Then I'm going to type in here, contact, so that they can contact us. And as you can see, this feature is not in Elementor. So what are we going to do now? Okay, so let's go and look for a plugin that is going to solve this problem. Because if we don't have the functionality in WordPress, we can always look for a plugin to add it to WordPress. So I'm just going to go back to my dashboard and I'm going to open plugins here. And so far we only have one plugin, which is Elementor. So the other one I'm going to add is the contact form. I want to click on add new and I'm going to search for contact form. Now, when you want to install a plugin, there's a few things you just have to, to just look at. First of all, is the number of installations that it has and how long was it updated. You get it. So you can see that this one is 5 million installations, this one is 4 million installations, and this one is 8,000 stars, and this one is about 2,000 stars. This one was installed about 2 months ago, and this one was installed about updated about 1 month ago. However, you can see that this one is compatible with your version of WordPress, and this one is untested with your version of WordPress. So whenever something is not tested with the version of WordPress, just stay away from it, okay? Because it might break your website. They're just saying that there is no guarantee that this plugin is going to function well on your website, so you should stay away from it. However, when you're choosing for a contact form, I always like this on contact form 7 because it's just the easiest. I'm going to click on install, then I'm going to click on activate. Okay, so I have activated contact form 7. So for this change to show up in Elementor, I'm going to refresh my page. since I have installed contact form 7, I am now going to search for contact form 7 in the modules to see if it's there, right? Let's search for contact, and you can see that it still is not there. Like, why? What's happening over here? So what's happening is when you add a plugin to WordPress, right, it increases the functionality of WordPress, not of Elementor. So there are certain things that are going to be found in WordPress that are not in Elementor. However, to add certain features that are in WordPress to Elementor, we're going to need an Elementor add-on. So the Elementor add-on for us to connect this contact form 7 plugin to Elementor is going to be called Essential Add-ons for Elementor. So let's go and look for that plugin. It's a plugin that enhances another plugin. We're going to look for essential add-ons. So you can see that after we install this one over here, we're just going to install it. And the name, even the name itself is self-explanatory. It says essential add-ons for Elementor, which means we're increasing the functionality of Elementor. So if I refresh like this page, and I search for contact, you can see now I have so many other options. Calendar forms, contact form 7, form stack, ninja forms, gravity forms. I have so many forms that I can install now because I've just added an essential add-ons for Elementor plugin. As you can see, all these modules are branded EA on top over here and EA on top to show that they are from essential add-ons. Even if I delete this contact, right, and I start scrolling down, you can see that these are the basic features of Elementor. These are the pro features of Elementor, which are very, very good, to be honest. And if you want the pro, I'll put a link in the description below. Then just down here, we have general for Elementor. Then we now have essential add-ons for Elementor, which were all these modules are free and they're added to Elementor by the plugin, which is called Essential Add-ons for Elementor, which is completely free as well. So that's good, right? Now let's see how we can use this on our website. So the first thing I'm going to do to make the get a quote section is I'm going to start by importing our template, the one you and me made together, which is going to be the repeat section. I'm going to go to the repeat section and I'm going to insert it. I think by now you can see how effective it is to use templates on your own website. Okay, now this is the repeat section, right? I've added it. The first thing I'm going to do about this repeat section is I'm just going to change some things on this main content here. The first thing I'm going to change is this icon. I'm going to change it to the edit icon because people are going to be filling in their details here. And this icon, just sums it up. This edit icon over here. And then on the heading, I'm going to say get a quote. Okay. Then I don't really need this third section, so I'm going to just delete it. Okay, now we are done editing our template. Now let's start making the section. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this background of this section of the get a quote section to something that looks like this. Because remember, we are going from white to the light color of the main version to the light color of the main color. Then we're going back to white again, and we're just alternating like that. So this was white. Now I'm going to have to put this color. So I'm just going to go like this. Then to style, on the background type, I'm going to click on classic. On color, I'm just going to choose main color light. This one over here. Okay, great. Now, here is the thing, right? I want to add the contact form module. The contact form 7 module. This contact form 7 module, and I'm going to drag it onto this center one over here. Now you can see that the contact form module, we got it from this contact form 7 plugin. And to bring it to Elementor, it was helped by this plugin over here, Essential Add-ons for Elementor. So this is like how things work in WordPress. Okay. So now that the contact form is not showing over here is because I have not selected my contact form yet. So when you're just starting out with the contact form 7, it gives you one default contact form. And if you look over here, select the contact form, it gives you contact form 1, which is the default. So for now, let's just deal with that one to create our get a quote section. As soon as I choose, you can see now that I have, the contact form. However, it looks very bad and I don't think anyone will fill this up. The first thing I want to do is, you can see that this section is a bit too small for a contact form. So let's make it a bit bigger. So I'm going to make column 1, 25%. And column 2 is going to be 50%, the column that has our contact form. And this column is automatically supposed to be 25%. However, if you look on the side, it's like 24.66. This is because there is some space being taken by these gutters, these border areas over here, but it doesn't really matter. It's nobody will notice that it's 24.66 and not 25. Nobody cares. Okay, so now let's deal with this section over here, the one with our contact form. So we want our contact form to pop out, to grab attention. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the color of the background. We're going to go to the background type and we're going to choose the color to, let's say, white. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to choose white. Okay, good. The next thing is that this contact form is way too close to these borders here, right? So the first thing I'm going to do right now is I want to install a border around this contact form over here. So I'm just going to go to border, then I'm going to click solid, and I'm going to put it at somewhere around 3 pixels width. Then on the radius, I'm going to put at 10 pixels so that, the corners are not edgy, like, the corners are a bit rounded like this. This is border radius. You can see that this contact form is too close to the border, so let's add some padding around it. Padding is the space inside the border. So I'm going to put 20, and now that's good. Okay, then I want this contact form to kind of like pop out, right? So if I go to the border here, I'm just going to go on box shadow and I'm going to activate. However, let me show you what it would look like before we activate the box shadow. You see, it would look something like this. And it seems as if this contact form is part of the background, but we want it to just pop out a little bit, to grab more attention. So I'm going to go on the box shadow and just click it like this. And now it looks something like this. It now has a shadow on it like this. And it seems as if it's on top of the background and it's not part of the background, which looks much, much better. So now we are done with that part. We're done editing this column. I'm just going to go and click on update. However, before we update, I would like to change, this main intersection module to just drag it, down a little bit because it's too close to this heading text here. So I'm going to click on these 6 dots here. Then I'm going to go to advanced and I'm going to just delink this so that I can control, the padding for the top, right, bottom and left separately. Then I'm going to put 30 on the top and then 30 on the bottom. So now you can see there's no space between this heading and this contact form. And that looks nice. And I'm going to click on update. Okay, now let's deal with the contact form itself. The first problem I've noticed here is that these filled areas, they look really bad. You can see that, and no one can really notice that these are actually filled areas. So we want them to stand out as well from the contact form itself. We want the contact form to stand out from the background and the filled areas to stand out from the contact form itself. So we're going to go over here to style, then form container. I have nothing to do over here. Then I'm going to go to input and text area. And background color, we're going to choose the light version of the main color. You can see, okay, so now you can see they now stand out and they're a bit too small. We want them to be a bit bigger, to be a bit more appealing so that our users can know that they can just put in their information anytime. We're going to put padding of 10 pixels and now they're a bit bigger, which is good. Okay, now we are done with these areas. Let's go and change the pattern. The pattern is way too small, so we just want to stretch it to fill up, to be 100% over here. We're going to go to the submit button. Then I'm going to change the width over here to custom to full width. And you can see now the pattern is full width. Then let's change the color of the button because as you can see on our website, all the buttons are, the darker version of the main color, all the buttons. So we just want to make sure that that trend, is still effective on our website. So we're going to go here, background color, and I'm going to change it to the main color dark, like this. Then I'm going to go to the hover so that if somebody hovers over the pattern and changes color, then the background color, I'm going to choose it to an accent color, which looks like orange, this one. Then I'm going to click on update. And let's see what we have so far on our website right here. And I'm going to refresh the website and let's just check. And this is what we have which looks nice. It looks good. However, there is one problem. Now, you can see that we have service 1, service 2, and service 3. And when the user is supposed to get a quote over here, they have to put in their name, that's okay, their email, that's okay, the subject, their message, that's not okay, that's not part of getting a quote. When somebody wants to get a quote, they want to select the service that they want, right? So we want to remove this subject area, and we also want to change this your message area to say extra notes for the service that they want. So how can you do it inside Elementor? The truth is you cannot do it inside Elementor. I wish you could, but you cannot. So we're just going to have to go back to the plugins here, and in the plugins we're going to go to the contact form 7 settings. So you're going to just look here, and you're going to go to contact over here, contacts. And remember, this contact form was the default one, which was contact form 1, and I'm going to click on edit here. Okay, good. Now we have your last name, there's your name, your email, subject, your message, and submit button, which is the same here, your name, your email, subject, and your message over here. So let's see what happens if I delete this subject area like this, all the text in the subject area like this, and I click on save. Let's see what's going to happen. Is our form going to break? If I refresh the page, you can see that the form does not break. That subject just goes away and everything else looks fine. So now we have deleted the subject area because it's not relevant to getting a quote. So let's add a new area now where our user can select the service that they want. So I'm just going to just click on the area that had the subject over here, and you can edit the form template here for details. See editing form templates. All you have to do here is to select whatever you want to put in. So I'm going to select, I want to put in check boxes here, check boxes. And then you put in the options inside this box, one option per line, which means I'm going to put on service 1 here, service 2 here, and then service 3 in this line, right? So now I have 3 services. And then after I'm done putting in all my services in one line each, I'm going to say this field should be a required field, because we don't want them sending us a quote when they didn't even select the service that they want. So it should be required field. Then I'm going to say insert tag. Okay, then I'm going to click on serve. And if I go here and I refresh this page, you can see that we now have service 1, service 2, and service 3 on our contact form. However, you can see that all the other sections are kind of labeled. You see, like your name, your email, but this one is not labeled. So let's go and label it. Just before this text that you just added, I'm just going to go before it, and I'm going to click on service here. Then I'm going to put a space, a colon, like this. Then I'm going to say save. Okay, then if I refresh this page, it now says service, then service 1, service 2, service 3. So let me just go and just edit a little bit. I think I messed up over there. I'm just going to say choose service. Choose service is much better. Then I'm going to say save. Okay, and I refresh. We now have choose service over here. Now they can select service 1, service 2, or service 3. Okay, now let's change something else. Instead of over here, instead of saying your message here, let's say extra notes, extra notes, so that they know that if they want to talk a little bit more about the service that they want, if they want to ask more questions, they can just put them in there. So I'm just going to say extra notes here, and then I'm going to click on save. Then if I refresh this page, you can see that it's now extra notes here, and everything looks like a get a quote section. So there are other plugins that you can use to create this section, which are made exactly for this section. However, those plugins are going to cost you money, and I promise this video is going to be using free resources. So this is why we're using the contact form to create this get a quote section. I hope you can understand that. Okay, now here's the thing. Now, if somebody comes to this contact form and fills in their details, where is this message even going to go? who is going to receive this message? So let's see how we can choose who's going to receive the quote message. So if I go back over here, then to this contact form, I'm going to go to mail. And you can see that the true over here is your site admin email, which means whichever email is on the site admin over there, whichever email is registered as the admin to that particular website, that person is going to receive the quote. And if you want to change it, you can just put in your email right over here and it would work just fine. So let's change the name of this contact form to say get a quote, because it's not a contact form, it's a get a quote form. Get a quote form. This is what it is, and I'm going to just save it, because we're going to need to create a bit more of these forms later on. So we just want to make sure that each and every one is the name of each and every one of them is specific to what they are for, what they do. So I'm going to refresh this page just to check if everything is working well again. And you can see that everything is working well. After we finish designing the home page, it's now time for us to go and design the contact page. However, you can see that there's a missing section over here. If you go here and you just see that we are missing a white background section with the blog post, a grid of the blog post. We're going to cover that later on because it's a very important topic on its own. So now let's just go and create the contact page. So for now, I'm just going to exit on the home page here because, we're done with that. Then I'm going to go to my article account, and under checklist, I'm going to go and click on the home page to just check it out. So home page, finished. So now we're going to go to the contact page. So now I'm going to just go back to my dashboard here. And the first thing about the contact page is that we want to create a new contact form, like this one over here, this form over here, but for the contact page. So to do that, all you have to do is to say add new. Just go under contact forms, then click on add new. And we're going to call this one contact form. We're just going to say real in brackets, so that, so this is the real contact form. Then I'm going to say save. So there isn't much, you don't have to edit anything on this field, because you see this plugin was made for contact forms and we're creating a contact form. So everything is just what we need it for. Then I'm going to go to pages here. Then I'm going to say edit on the contact page. Where is it? This one over here. And I'm going to say edit right here. Now, there is something I want to show you before we go on and edit this contact page. Now, here's the thing, right? You see this page attributes over here. There is a template here and it says Elementor full width. Yours by default is going to be on the default template here, and I'm going to say update, right? So your contact page is going to be on default template here. And if it's on default template and we want to edit, and we want to edit with Elementor, if I go to edit with Elementor, you will notice that we have this contact text over here, this contact text. This is the page heading. And even if we add an element like this, you can see that this element is not even full width. You see, this element is not even full width, and we cannot do anything about this section over here. This is the problem with using a default template. This is why you should always go with the template that says Elementor full width, so that Elementor takes control of the whole page. If not, Elementor will not take control of the whole page. This is why you should always use the Elementor full width template. So let's go back and fix that. I'm going to say leave, and on page attributes, I'm going to say Elementor full width, then update. Then I'm going to say edit with Elementor. And now I will have full control of the whole entire page. If I add, let's say, a widget here, you can see that it's covering 100% of the page. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Before we design this page, if you go to our website, you'll notice that the top sections of all the other pages except the home page look similar, which means we have to create a template for these sections instead of creating them, from scratch, which would be way, way faster. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create that template for the description sections and the heading sections of the pages. So I'm just going to add the first column here, which is going to have the control sections just below the header, we cannot access those. So I'm going to add another column here, which is going to have our controls right here. So, sorry, I'm going to add from my templates, I'm going to put in the repeat section that we made together that time. This repeat section, I'm sorry about that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color of this repeat section, the background color. I'm going to go to style, background type, classic, and I'm going to say this background color should be main color light. It looks like this. Great. And I'm going to delete this column because I'm not going to need the fourth column. I'm not going to need it. I only want the name of the page, the icon, and some text to describe a little bit about the page. So I'm done with this. And I'm also going to reduce the size of the main section. It's a bit too big, you see, we only want this section to just describe what the page does, not to take the whole page, So I'm going to go to the advanced for this section. Then I'm going to reduce the padding from 100 to, let's say, 50. And then 50 here. Okay? It looks much smaller and much better. Then the next thing I'm going to do on this template is I'm going to go to the text editor here, and I'm going to change the text color to the main color dark, something like this. Okay, then I'm going to update it. So the top section of all our pages is going to look something like this. Then we're going to put the content at the bottom with a white background. So now I want to save this section, and I'm going to just click on the right click here, and I'm going to say save as template, and I'm going to call this the top page section. So you can see that when I save my templates, I don't write like ZKB1 or something like that, some weird name, because the thing is, after 1 year making these templates, you're going to forget some of them. Okay, so you want names that just explain themselves, that explain the template as it is, because if I save it like this, I can no longer see what it looks like. All I see is these about, contact, these names, you see. So you must make sure that you save a name that you can easily remember. So no fancy ZKB1 names or anything like that. Okay, so I'm done with that part. Now I want to go and design the top header of the contact page. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change this heading to contact us. Then I'm going to change this to comment, which is this one over here, and insert it. Okay, then you can change this text if you want to something else. I'm going to go in and delete this section over here. Then I'm going to say update. Just by doing that, we have now created the top section of our contact page. So let's go and check that out. I'm going to go to the contact page, and the page looks like this. So now it's time for us to just design the lower part of the page. So to design the bottom of the contact us page, I'm just going to add the first main column. So I'm going to do this fast because we've learned about this before, and this is not new to us. All the skills required to make this section, you've learned them before. So let's just do it fast. So I'm just going to make this 100 pixels on top, 100, then 100 again. Then I'm just going to go to inner section. I'm going to add an inner section in here. And on the second column, I'm going to add the contact form. Let's just start with that one. And I'm going to select contact form reel that we created in the previous steps. Then I'm going to go to this column here, and I'm going to go to style. On the border, I'm going to add a solid width of 3 pixels, border radius of 10 to make the corners round, and I'm going to add a box shadow. Then I'm going to go into the column and get a padding of 20 around so that we have some space in it. Then I'm going to go to the contact form here, and I'm going to go to the input area, change the background color to light, and I'm going to get a padding of 10 pixels to make it bigger. So just like that, I've designed this part, and I'm going to go to the submit button, make it full width. Then I'm going to change the submit button color to the main dark. Then on hover, I'm going to put an accent color on the background, which is going to be orange. Then I'm going to say update. And just like that, I've created this contact form. And here I only need to add some heading, which is going to say, let's discuss more. Again, put whatever you want. Then I'm going to put the text editor text right under it, right over here. Okay. Then I'm going to add some icons in here. Some icons, icon list in just over here. Okay. Then on the icon list, the first one I'm going to choose is going to be envelope to show your email address. The second one is going to be font marker. This font out. Then the third one is going to be map marker to show where you live. Okay, then I'm just going to change the text in here. I'm going to say your email shipped at your domain.com. This is what you're going to put over there. The one we created in the C panel. Then here I'm just going to put your phone number. You obviously have to put the actual phone number. Here you're going to put your address just over here. And if we go and to the settings here, we're just going to change the space between to somewhere around 40 pixels. Or maybe 20. This is a bit too much. To 20. Okay. Then on the icon, I'm going to make it 30 pixels in size. 30 pixels in size. Then the text, I will make it on typography 22. And you can see that just by doing that. Then I click on update, and we go to the contact page and refresh it. It would look something like this. Just like that. So I think this is this is good. Okay, so we've created this page before. That's why I just rushed through it to just show you how you would do it when you're doing it fast. My homework for you is for you to now to go and design the services page, because we have learned how to create the top section of the services page. We've also learned how to create the icons on the services page. We've also learned how to create the get a quote section on the services page. So now I want you to go and prove yourself that you've been learning and not just watching and create the services page. You can also use the blog post design data to help yourself out, so that you don't get stuck when designing the services page. Now it's time for us to design the about page. So as you can see, I have already created the top section of the page for you, because I don't want to waste your time. We've already done this before, right? What you want to focus on is the meet team section. If you also want to know how to create this section, you can just go to the blog post, and the design data will be, self-explanatory. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a template here. The template that you and me created ourselves, which is the repeat section over here. And I'm going to say no. On the document settings, just say no. All right. Now I'm going to change this icon to users, because I just want a group of people. That's all I want. Then I'm going to change this heading to meet the team. And I'm going to delete this text, because you see we've already explained what we want to do on this page, on this text over here, so there's no need to repeat this same thing. Okay, so on the meet the team section, what I want to do is I want to add an image of the person we're talking about. Then we wanted to add the name of the person, which is going to be using this heading. Then we also want to add the position of this person, which is going to be their job. Then lastly, we want to add a little bit of text explaining what this person, provides, right? Okay, so we now have this. So this is going to be the name of the person. I'm going to make it center over here. This is going to be their job. I'm going to make it center like this. Then this is going to be, a brief description about them. I'm going to make it center. I'm going to change the text color to, the border color, something like this. Yeah, okay. So now how do we achieve, the meet the team section? So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put some box shadow around this area for it to stand out. So I'm going to just click column 1 and I'm going to go to style, then I'm going to go to border, and I will not be adding any border for this, but I'm just going to put box shadow like this so that it just pops out like this without any border. Then so the edges are a bit rough, they are like, to like they're 90 degrees, which is not good. We want them to be a bit, smooth and circular. So I'm going to put some radius of, let's say, 5 pixels. Now, if I update this and I want to go and view my page on my site, it's going to look something like this. Now, here's the thing. Now, we want to have at least 3 columns that look like this. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to delete this column and I'm going to duplicate column number 1. And I'm going to click update. And when I refresh this page, you can see that we now have a problem here. We now have a problem. This column and this column, they are kind of attached to each other. So how are we going to fix that? And if you guessed is saying that it's going to be margin, then you are correct, because we need to increase, the space around this column outside the border so that it doesn't stick to the next column. So let's do that. So column number 1, I'm going to go there and I'm going to change the space to, let's say, 15 margin around. And then column number 2, I'm going to change the margin to say 15 again. And when I say update and I refresh this page, it's going to look something like this, which is much, much better, you see. Okay, so now let's see on how we can actually design, this part, the parts inside the section. So for the first one, I'm going to choose someone, and I'm going to choose John Doe, this dude over here. This is John Doe, and I'm going to put him in there. And you can see that there's a simple problem here. This image is too close to the borders, so let's add some padding inside this column. I'm just going to click on column 1 and I'm going to go to the padding, which is the space inside the border. So I'm going to put padding of 15 pixels, and now you can see that there is a bit more space inside this section. And I'm going to change this job description text, the color, so that it looks different from the name. So I'm going to choose a new color. I'm going to choose an accent color, which is going to be a bit pinkish over here. And I'm going to call this guy, let's say, John Doe. You can call him whatever you want. John Doe here, and John Doe is, let's say, a developer. And if I want to explain more about John Doe, I can just write it down in this text description over here. So this is how you would create just one of these, and click on update when you are done. So that to save yourself some work, I'll just delete column number 2, delete column number 3, and I just duplicate column number 1 3 times. And now all I have to do is just to change the images and change the images for this person as well. And you can now change the names. Let's say this, you can call them Susan Doe. And this person, you can call them, I don't know, Bob Doe. Also, we're running out of names now. So, designer and SEO specialist. Just call it that. And SEO. So just by doing that, you can see that you would have created your meet the team section. However, this whole entire section is a bit too close to our heading over here. So we're going to need to increase that padding. So I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to go and increase the padding on the top. I'm going to delink this. Then I'm going to put, let's say, a 30 pixels padding on top and 30 pixels on bottom. Then I'm going to say update. And if we go and view our about page, if we refresh it, you can see that it now looks something like this. A little bit about us. You explain some stuff. Then there's a meet the team section. So one thing you have to make sure is that on this section, make sure that the images are of the same size, because you don't want these sections to be, this section to be smaller than the other one. So make sure the images are all the same size, and you would have created this section. So now it's time for us to create the newsletter page. So I've already designed this top part because, I don't want to waste your time. This icon here is the envelope icon, and this text here, is newsletter text. So now let me go and design the bottom part of the newsletter. So I'm just going to add the main section here, this section, and I want space around this section. So I'm going to go to advanced. Then I'm going to put some padding of 150 on top and 150 on the bottom. Okay, that's good. Then I'm going to add an inner section module like that. And I want the inner section module to have 3 columns. So I'm going to duplicate column number 1 like this. Then I'm going to make column number 1 20%. And column number 3 another 20%. Okay, great. So we have this column is 60%. Now I'm going to add the HTML module in it like that. All right. Now here's the thing. Now we want to copy and paste our form code inside this HTML module, like what we did on the home page. So all you have to do now is to log into your Getresponse account. If you don't have one right now, you can go to article.com/gr. So once you log in, you're going to land on a page like this one. You just click on the menus here and you go to forms and surveys like this. Then this is the form that we just created, me and you, that time. So I'm going to click on these 3 dots here and I'm going to say copy form code. Then I'm going to say copy. Then I'm going to go back to my page and I'm just going to go here and I'm going to paste it in here like this. And I'm going to say update. And if I try to view this page, you can see that it looks, let me go and view this page. On the newsletter page, open a new tab. It looks like this, okay? It looks like this. So this doesn't look good. As you can see that this doesn't look nice. So let's put some border around this section and some box shadow. So I'm going to go on this column number 2 here. And I'm going to go to the style. On the border, I'm going to put a solid border like that, width of about 3. Then the border radius, let's put it on 10. Then I'm going to activate the box shadow like that. Then I'm going to say update. And let's see how it's going to look like when I refresh. It's going to look something like this. So now I want to make this background a bit white. And I want to add more padding inside this section. So I'm just going to go to this background and I'm going to change this from classic to just white. And I'm going to add some padding around these sections of, let's say, I'm going to put a 30 pixels padding. Then I'm going to say update. And if I go back to my newsletter page, it now stands out a little bit. So you don't want it to be too complicated, you just want them to put in their email right over here and subscribe, you see. If you want to convince them, you can just convince them with this text over here. Just write something nice about what they're going to receive if they do sign up. And just like that, you're now done with the newsletter page. So congratulations on finishing up on that step. The next step now, if we go to our homepage over here, you can see that right at the bottom over here, we have a get a code section, then we have the footer. There is a missing section here, which is going to be the blog post. So now let's go and create those blog posts. So before we create this blog posts are simply pages. However, these pages have a general layout, right? So all you have to do is just to put in your content and the page will create itself. This is what we want to do. So instead of going to pages, I'm going to go to posts over here and I'm going to click on all posts. Then I'm going to just go right here and say, you know what, I want to add a new post. I'm going to say open a new tab. Okay. So I'm going to call this post something unique like blog post 1. Then I'm just going to save this page like this, publish. And now we have created our blog post and this is the link over here. I'm just going to say view post. And this is our blog post. So right now it's empty, right? You can see that there is nothing over here, but the page is already been pre-designed, even though there is nothing. So now let's go back. I want to go back and put some content into this blog post. So let's see. I'm just going to say, so I'm going to put this content into the blog post. And then I'm going to just publish it like this. I'm going to say update. Okay, now our blog post is live. Then let's go see how it looks like now. I'm just going to duplicate this page because I want to open the blog post on a different page. Refresh the page. Okay, so you can see that just by putting the content in like this, the page has already been created by the theme itself, like this. So this is what blog posts do. However, if you go to our homepage, you can see that the blog post is also displaying an image on it. This is called the featured image. It might not show on the blog post, but when we put the blog post on the page, it should show an image on it. This image is called the featured image. So if I go here on this blog post, right, and I go to post over here, then under featured image, this one, I'm going to select an image. Then this is the image I'm going to show. This one, I'm going to say set it as featured image. Then I'm going to just update this post. And if I go and refresh this page, you can see that there is no change over here. There is nothing, no change. We cannot see the image. So let's see how we can show this image on our homepage so that people can click on that image and land on this blog post. So now I'm going to go on. So now, first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 3 more blog posts. Okay guys, now I'm done creating this blog post. If I refresh this page over here, you can see that I now have blog post 1 and 2, then I have 3. Okay, so now let's go and put this blog post on the home page. So I'm going to go to pages here. Then I'm going to go on the home page. I'm going to say edit with Elementor, open in the new tab. Then I'm just going to scroll down to the last section over here. Then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add our template, which is of course the repeat section that we created together. Insert, no. Okay, then I'm going to change this icon to something that looks much better, something like a copy. Okay, this I think will look good. Then I'm just going to change this to blog posts. So since we've created our blog posts, I'm just going to delete this section here because I don't think I need it. Then I'm going to delete this section as well. Okay. So there's no need for you to add this module into an inner section. All you have to do now is just to look for post grid. Post grid, which is part of the essential add-ons. You can see there's an EA over there. Then I'm just going to drag and drop it just below this. Just like this. Okay, then on the number of posts I want to show, I'm going to say I want to show about 3 posts. Now it's showing only 3 posts, and I want to decrease the number of columns from 1, 2, 3, 4 to just 3. So let's do that. Layout settings here. I'm going to change it to column to 3, and then the layout I'm going to change it to grid. And now it shows like this. And if I just take a look, it now looks like this, which is much better. And I'm going to say update. And when I go to my home page and refresh the page, you can now see that I have the blog post section now showing. And this blog post section is also displaying the images, which are the featured images. Even though on the blog post, this image doesn't display, it's now displaying on the home page. And if I click on that image, I'm going to land on the blog post, which we created. So this is how you would create blog posts. Now, there is a simple thing here. You can see that this is just the general layout of the blog post, and you cannot change this unless you have Elementor Pro. If you go to my website, you can see that on the blog post, I have like this beautiful design over here with these box shadows, and you can see that my content is at the center, and you know I have some share icons on the left over here, which just looks nice. And if you want to design something like this for your blog post as well, like your own template for the blog post, then you would need to get Elementor Pro. Okay, so we're done with the blog post. Now let's move on to mobile optimization. So now it's time for us to do mobile optimization. We do know that our website looks good on desktop. However, it might not look good on mobile. So let's see how we can change that. So I'm first of all going to go down here to the responsive mode, and I'm going to go there and I'm going to click on mobile. You can click on tablet, desktop, or mobile. So right now I want to optimize for the mobile. Then I'm going to click mobile. All right, so the first thing I can do over here, you can see that this text is a bit too big. I'm just going to click on it like this. Then I'm going to go to title. I'm going to go to typography. Then you can see that right now this setting is going to be for the mobile because there's a mobile sign beside the size over here. Then I'm going to change this text to, let's say, 30 pixels. I'm going to do the same for this text as well. I'm going to put it to, let's say, 20 pixels. Okay. So you can see this form right here does not look good on mobile. However, on the actual website, it actually looks good. This is just a false representation by Elementor. So don't worry about the form, it looks good. Then when I go down over here, I want to edit, let's say, this image over here. This image doesn't look good on mobile, so let's edit that. I'm just going to click it, go to advanced, and I'm going to go to positioning. Then for mobile offset, I'm just going to change it to 0 over here. Then for the vertical orientation for mobile, I'll change it to 0.2 so that it just looks good. Then I will just say update this. So this is what you would have to do on your website for all the pages to just check if they also look good on mobile and make some adjustments. By now, you now know about the padding and the margin, and if you know those things, you can quickly optimize your website for mobile. So let's just do one more change over here. You see these icons over here, they have like a border on the right over here. We want to remove that border for mobile. So I'm just going to click on this column. Then I'm going to go to border, and I'm going to make sure that the width is 0 for mobile. And just like that, the border is gone. I'm going to go on this icon again, and I'm going to go to style, border, and I'm going to make it 0 for mobile everywhere. 0, and just like that, the border on the right is gone, and I'll just click update. So this is what you'd have to do. Very, very simple process to make your website mobile friendly. So, however, we do have one error on our website. So as you can see, if I click this menu over here, this form is going on top of the menu. This is a problem that we have to fix. So I promise you that we're not going to write any code, and I will still maintain that promise. However, this took me some time to fix, so I'll just show you how you would do it. So what I will do first is I'll just go back over here to my dashboard. Then I'm going to go to appearance, then to customize. Open a new tab. Okay, so now I'm going in the customize area. Okay, so once you reach the customize area, I want you to scroll down over here. Then go to additional CSS. Okay, now here's the thing. You are not going to be writing any code. What I want you to do is I want you to go to our blog post with all the blog design data. Then I want you to go to the last step, the last step over here. So you can see that I already fixed this error. You can see we want to turn this over here, this menu which looks like this, into something like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to just take this code over here, copy and paste the code. I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to go back to my website custom, and I'm just going to paste it just like that. Then I will say publish. Going to go back to mobile responsive. You can now see that the menu is now going on top of the form. So this is how you would fix that error. All you have to do is just to copy that code I gave you and just paste it in the customized area over here in the additional CSS. Click published, and you are done. If this video was helpful to you in any way, please don't forget to just like the video, subscribe. I will see you next time.